Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Apex Racing TV. Welcome to the BSRTC Pro Series. We're at the fantastic Mount Panorama, Bathurst this evening. Temperatures looking quite cool, actually, for the Australian circuit. No wind, and it is overcast. So these guys are going to be faced with possibly a different challenge to what they expected tonight. My name, obviously, Charles Draycott, alongside Adam Bath tonight, who we're just waiting on for possibly race 2 or midway through race 1. We're not sure yet. Samuli Kumo doing the cameras, doing a fantastic job, as always. And it's the usual with the BSRTC. It's a very, very packed field. As we look at it at the moment, there's really barely any time between the laps, if I'm honest with you. From Wojciech Svidovic, who is currently on pole, well, it shows him on pole actually, sorry, I've still got the practice times in front of me. There's only 4 seconds through the whole field, and on such a long lap, that's going to be really compact come the race and come qualifying. So I'm just waiting to see what these boys can do now. Just got the qualifying times up now, sorry, it just seemed to not update for me for a second there. It is Wojciech Svidovic on pole at the moment, then 2 minutes 9.8, with Sedgwick is second on the grid with a 2 minutes 10.1, and then it's only a couple of tenths between them. I mean, between Rushworth and Baker and Melrose, there's really not anything in it. Actually, between Melrose and Cunniff, there's only 0.003 of a second. So it really is close all the way as you look down the field. A couple of guys there further down are only separated by possibly about a 100th of a second, if that. So yeah, it's going to be really a case of who stays out of trouble tonight, I think, if I'm honest with you. We saw on Tuesday in the BSR MX-5s that there was a lot of trouble, more and more as the night went on. The first race was actually quite clean for around here. If we look at Jack McIntyre, then third on the grid at the moment for Northern Lights Scuderia Haggis. Going into the cut-in then. Really does feel like a small, thin circuit. Well, it does in any car, but especially in the Kia, it feels like a big blocky thing to be dragging around. And these guys definitely do a good job of it. You just got to be really careful as you get on the throttle though, that the car doesn't understeer wide, because as we know, these things have so much front end power. Oh, McIntyre really hits the wall there. Not sure whether that's going to invalidate his lap or not. I'd imagine it would do, as yeah, he runs wide there, so that's going to invalidate it anyway, if anything. Real shame there for the pro driver Josh Thompson, fourth in the standings at the moment. As we see this, you can see how tight this circuit is, and you can feel by the input that Josh is putting in how understeery this car actually is. It's going to be a battle of attrition and people managing their tyres all the way throughout this one. They come flying down the Conrad Straight now. This is going to be the fastest part of the section, fastest part of the circuit, sorry, all night. Getting to some ridiculous speeds down there. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw these hitting about 150, 160 mile an hour. At Monza you can get that sort of speed out of this car, but that's flat, and down a hill here you can probably do that. Rushworth is now 6th as Baxter goes 2nd, Harrod goes 6th, Hadfield goes up to 9th. He's the highest AM driver at the moment with a 2:11 dead. Good lap there by Hadfield. Melrose there crossing the line, doesn't improve. Holmes goes up to 6th. Simpson, Alex Simpson up to 9th with just under a 2:11 there, 2:10.998. As we see Thompson going through turn 1, then he didn't improve on his best lap last time round. Rob Graham, you can see at the bottom of your screen there, just outside just on the edge of the top 20. Josh Thompson there trying to get some slipstream off the Apex car in front of him. There's Brian Holmes in one of the other Apex cars. We go on board now. You can just hear the tyres screaming for mercy as they go around there. Chasing some Team Mad cars up the hill then as we come into the cut-in. Look how quickly that wall comes towards you. Really scary stuff, as Brian seems to be running a little bit wide there, but you can still get a good run out of it. You don't have to really force it to the inside of the corner. Really close to the walls as they go over the top of the hill there. You've just got to risk it on hot laps around here. A lot of the time it's worth getting a banker lap in, because you know that a lot of your rivals might not do the same. Diogo Melro there in the number 115 car. Coming down then into Skyline. Beautiful bit of track, really very challenging. You can see that he's just flicking the car in hard enough to step the rear out as he clips the wall. That's going to invalidate his lap surely, but he's going to want to help his teammate behind him. I believe that's Woodhouse, who's in the battle for the AM Championship at the moment. He had a great meeting at Brands Hatch last time round. 21st on the grid at the moment then, with Rob Graham and Rusty Laidlaw either side of him. Rusty also mentioning at Brands Hatch of how well Mark's doing at the moment, and it's great to see the support between two drivers. behind Woodhouse right now is Brian Holmes in that Apex car. His qualifying is over then. Some of those guys, you've got to think, have to be careful getting on the grass to get the optimal run through there, just in case they do get a 1x for an off-track. Because, oh, Holmes has gone straight on behind Woodhouse there, unfortunately. I'm not sure whether he was just trying to help his teammates out by giving them slipstream there. We'll see what Woodhouse does as he comes across the line. And a couple of guys not really improving. Here's Woodhouse then out of the final corner, gets his foot planted, minimalises the wheel spin, comes across the line. Baxter doesn't improve. Woodhouse does improve, but doesn't gain a position. A couple of other guys there as well near the front. Zavidovic, Sedgwick, not really beating their times as we look at Lee Deemer in the Simortal car. Really tricky section in a car that wants to understeer as much as this. Mounting all the curb, kicking up a bit of the grass. Into Skyline, nearly sideways for Lee Deemer there, really committed as he comes in. Just got to be so careful down that section. I think he ran a bit wide there. That's going to really compromise his run all the way down the hill. It's just him and Kip Stevens and Max Wright on the track now then. As the session about to come to an end. Onto the Conrad Straight then. You don't want to be lifting off whatsoever as you come down here. Absolutely on the ragged edge these Kias are a lot of the time. You can hear it literally just screaming the revs as he comes down, bouncing across the circuit there, washing out to the middle. Hard on the brakes, then gets it turned in, hopes the front end digs in. You can sort of hear the hesitation, the car really not wanting to do what it's told. Stevens, I believe, or is that Max Wright actually ahead, just about come off the line. Oh, Deemer's a little bit wide there, misses the apex. Doesn't go off though. Stevens doesn't improve on his time. And Lee doesn't either. 2:14.9 there for him. His best lap was a 2:13.8, so he won't be too pleased with that. We saw a couple of little mistakes there. Nothing major though. Max Wright does improve. He goes up to 29th on the grid there. I'm sure that was a frantic qualifying session for all the drivers as they try their very best to get laps in while they can. It's a very important thing to have a good qualifying position around here. You don't want to be stuck in the pack or near the back where you can get caught up in incident. You want to be home free and try and get to the front and run away. Highest AM driver then is Adam Hadfield, 11th on the grid, with Mark Johnston second in the AM classification at the moment, 15th, with Adam McNally right behind him in 16th. So not too many spaces between them. There's a group of 4 AM cars further down the field between Dan Brown, Rob Graham, Mark Woodhouse and Russell Laidler, going from 19th to 22nd. We should have just a few more seconds then, and we will have, I believe, the starting grid. Interesting to see this track in overcast conditions though. It's not often you do get that. These guys do run dynamic weather, so people don't know what they're going to be getting from one session to the next. Here's the grid then. Wojciech Zavidovic on pole position. Stephen Baxter 3/10 down on him. Jack Sedgwick not far behind that either. Jack McIntyre 4th on the grid with Josh Thompson 5th. Brian Holmes 6th. Pete Harrod up there in 7th with Jamie Rushworth, his teammate 8th. Alex Simpson is 9th for Apex with George Simmons rounding out the top 10. Adam Hadfield is 11th with Dave Baker in 12th place for CQR. He's followed by Diogo Melro, Colin Cunniff, Mark Johnston then, Adam McNally, that's an all-AM row there for 15th and 16th. Martin Front is 17th, Christian Rose 18th. Daniel Brown is 19th with Rob Graham rounding out the top 20. Then we've got the AM protagonist in the championship then, Mark Woodhouse with Russell Laidler 22nd, Nathan Davis 23rd. William Daniels is 24th in the number 2 car. Kip Stevens is 25th. Tristan Bott is 26th. Sorry, actually, that says 25th twice for some reason there. Not quite sure why. 26th is Lee Deemer, 27th Michael Hall, 28th Max Wright, 29th is Craig Williams, 30th is Sven Glatzel, 31st Pete Newman, 32nd Nickel Foggy, Jake Blackhall 33rd with Chris Wood 34th, and Paul Smith in 35th place. Coming towards the end of the field now, we've got Ross McFarlane 36th, Stuart McFadden 37th, Michael Blake 38th, and Scott Malcolm 39th, rounding out the back of the grid. And I believe we are joined by a Mr. Adam Bath.
Couldn't have timed it better myself, I think.
No, definitely.
Hello, everybody. Looking good. Looking forward to this one. Really looking forward to it. But yeah, I just heard you run through the grid. Well done, and yeah, we're getting set for this one with the top two pretty much the top two in the championship going at it right from the get-go.
Yeah, it should be good to see how these boys battle it out physically. No real mind games been going on as far as I know, but we'll now the gloves are off, I suppose, around Bathurst. It's going to be just focusing. I was just saying before, it's going to be a battle of attrition and who can keep it out of the wall, I suppose, for the first race, just to help improve your evening as it comes to reverse grids as the lights are about to come on.
Here we go then. Quite a few cars starting from the pit lane. You can see them at the bottom. Very quick change and we're away. Good start from Wojciech. He's going to be able to easily coast into the lead into the first corner. Sedgwick's going to have to worry about McIntyre though behind him as we go into Hell Corner then for the first time onto the mountain straight. There's two wide in the background there between one of the Apex cars and one of the CQR cars. That's Brian Holmes and Pete Harrod. And now here comes the field. All 40 of them streaming out down the mountain straight up to speeds in excess of 200 kph as we get on the brakes now into turn 2 Griffin's Bend. And a bit of sideways there by Jamie Rushworth as the cold tyres on the Kia, all trying to get the pressures up and the tyres up to temperature as well. But no crashes so far, Chaz, which is a good thing, as I think we might be about to eat our words going up to the top of the hill. Yeah,
it's going to get all a bit compact now as we see Colin Cunniff there. I can hear sliding about, but I'm not sure whether that's self-inflicted. Nickel Foggy, actually, I was talking to earlier in the day. He's actually had to be disqualified from qualifying. Max Wright is going down the order, unfortunately. There he is on the right, ironically. He's not quite got the best start there to his race. Tristan Bodis seems like he's out of the race as well. I'm not sure whether he even took the start. But as we look then at the front, Savidovic, Baxter, Sedgwick, McIntyre and Thompson. Savidovic just controlling it at the moment. Really aggressive dips in this car. It's a very stiff sort of set-up car, really. I mean, we see it bouncing around a lot, but that is just because of how stiff it is. And I was saying before, it's going to be one of those sort of scary races where you just don't want it to understeer wide into a wall, Adam.
Yeah, I don't know if we went to this track in the Club Series. Problem for Diogo Melro, he's dropping down the order. Quite a few people have been listed as crashed. Don't know if that's just me or not. Nicole Foggy's had to jump. Oh my word, there's a big crash. It's a Northern Lights racing car. It's Dan Brown. Foggy's had to jump to the pit, so that's a disaster for the championship leader. There's a pile-up. That's Diogo Melro in the pink Team Mad car. And here's a replay. Talk us through it, Chaz. What happened?
Well, you can see just ahead there, Melro and one of the Northern Lights cars involved, and one of the V-Ray, well, I believe they're Northern Lights as well. People are just filtering through. Oh, it just...
And that's Foggy, isn't it?
Yeah, someone just didn't get it slowed down in time there. Newman just got tagged and luckily got away with it, but that's the thing around here. It's so compact and the walls are so high that it is difficult to see cars coming around the corner. As Baxter then, side by side with Cedric, down the inside, bit of a nudge on the exit just to make sure that he knows he's there. And they're going to have a drag race up the straight, as in the background there, one of the Simultal cars all over the back of one of the CQR cars. I believe that's Hadfield and Baker running up the hill.
Is Bathurst home of the Super Cheap, also Bathurst 1000 qualifying, I believe, is tonight. As side by side, we're worrying about this at the moment. It's Sedgwick versus Baxter. Baxter sits in 5th in the championship. He's dropped back a little bit off his earlier season tempo, but he's still in with a shout of the showdown, which begins in 3 weeks' time. And the Kia was all sorts of all over the place as he tries to get onto the brakes into the cutting. It's Savidovic, Baxter, then it's Sedgwick, Baxter, McIntyre, Thompson, Brian Holmes, all within the same camera shot as we go over the top of the hill. Saw a big crash there in the at the Sim Expo race a few weeks back, and now we're going through up to McPhillamy Park and Skyline again, where we did see a few big crashes in the BSR MX-5 race, which you were covering, Chaz, on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I believe Jack Ashton got some sort of motion sickness when he got pirouetted around in the middle of the track, and he was in VR for that, so we gave him all worlds of sympathy, because he must have had an absolute nightmare when that happened. But it was all with Rob Graham there, really going hard with Nathan Davis. There's going to be a quarter panel. Nathan's just got to plant his foot, try and keep it. He has done somehow. Really rough and tumble racing by these boys here, but somehow they're still going. So that's how you do it if you want to carry on.
That is, it's probably Automech's slogan, I reckon. Graham was up the inside, and Davis tried his best to shut the door, but that Automech car, it was right there straight away.
Yeah, he wasn't letting him have it. He wasn't going to let him just slide in front and run away with it. Just having a quick look at the moment, then down the order. There's not really any other issues. I think to be fair though, over the whole field, other than those that have been involved in incidents, there are actually only 3 incident points for everyone, other than those that have had a crash so far. So not really anyone, well, there's not many off-track places either, I suppose. You either hit a wall or you're on the track, so not much forgiveness as Woodhouse now around the outside of Rob Graham into the final corner. Plenty of room for the pair of them. Woodhouse mounting the curve, Graham giving him plenty of room as well. Again, hard but fair.
Yeah. Those of you that saw the BSR MX-5 on Tuesday saw that outside line can happen, and it managed to get a race victory for Anwar Smith on that occasion. 4 cars in the pits, and 3 of them from the Northern Lights Racing stable. Colin Cunniff, Dan Brown, Nicole Foggy, all of those driving for Northern Lights Racing, and Max Rice in the Awesome Met car back in the pits too. This is the battle for 10th then. This involves second place in the championship, Dave Baker in 10th, then Adam Hadfield in 11th and George Simmons in 12th. Simmons has found a gap up the inside and is going to go for it as well. That's very brave, but see that outside line again, and Adam Hadfield able to just about get clear. That shows how powerful that outside line is, and it's part of the mountain course. It's extremely cambered, so it can favour the car on the outside, even though you wouldn't think it's the preferred line, as Martin Front has apparently crashed. He might be, oh there he is. He's parked conveniently to where the marshal's post is, so I don't think he's going to be worrying about that too much, and I think he might be done for the day. Indeed he is.
Yeah, real shame there for Martin. Just sort of did it on his own by the look of it. I'm not sure whether he might have got quarter panel though, because it's difficult to go that far off the track, so might have a look back at that one. But this battle's really on at the moment then. Hadfield in the middle of it, really close to the wall with Simmons there. He's actually down 2 places from where he started, so he wants to obviously get that redeemed. Down the straight, I'm sure he'll have a chance though, although he seems to have disappeared. There he is. Now he's somehow got damage on the front. He's having a bit of a connection issue there, is Simmons. He comes back with no damage on the front, so that's just a display of how it's going for him. But Simmons is going to have a right view with Hadfield now down the inside of Baker. Oh, that was really close. I thought he had an overlap there. Simmons is actually later on the brakes. He's taking an opportunity there. You can see him glowing 2 wheels over the curve, and he makes it stick. Great stuff from Simmons.
You can really use the curbs to your advantage at this circuit, and that's what George Simmons has done, up to 11th place. Missed the early part of the season, but has come back now and is here to help Apex Racing get that team's championship in the showdown. Alex Simpson, I think, has the fastest lap of the race. Speaking of Apex in a moment, he's sat in 8th place, 1 position gained. Biggest mover is Stuart McFadden, 17 positions gained. He's in 20th place. There he is up on screen, and it looks like he's used the chrome horn, as we call it, to get there. Bit of damage to the front of his Kia Optima. I think everybody will have something of the sort by the end of the evening. It's going to be a very hard-fought evening, and what could be a championship-making evening, because after this we've just got 1 week to decide the points for the showdown.
Yeah, it's getting to the clipping point now for these guys. It's going to be nail-biting stuff. But it's good to see McFadden having a good race. We spoke to him last week after the Brands round, where he didn't actually race, but he was just still there for the CQR boys helping him out. And he was saying that he was confident, so 17 places gained in a lap certainly shows that his confidence is, is working for him. As we see Hadfield now absolutely hounding Simmons after they traded places last time round. Hadfield's always been quite the aggressive racer from racing him in the club series. We've all got a bit of experience of that. You can see the car, it's really quite easy to unsettle it sort of horizontally. It wobbles around a fair bit, but these guys are running setups that have the back end so loose just to minimise the understeer in the front end. Brilliant shots there as you come down the hill, just floating all the way down. And these sort of direction changes, you wouldn't think a car as big as the Kia would be able to handle it that well, as Hadfield gets a little bit of a slide on there. Doesn't let it compromise his line though, and he's going to have to try and use the slipstream down the straight.
Really do have to wrestle this Kia Optima. It's hard enough getting one of these cars slowed down for one of the big braking points, but when it's downhill like that, going down the mountain, you really do have to wrestle the car about. And of course, these drivers, they'll be using as little downforce as they can for parts of the circuit like this. As look at Simmons almost taking off over the curve as he went through the chase, and he's now in 11th place trying to keep Hadfield at bay. Simmons has won a race this season. Has been on the podium 3 times, while Hadfield has been on the podium just the once. And I'm sure he'll be hoping for that to change over the evening. Don't think he's going to get it done today, because look at this. We've got the front 5 separated by just about 1.5 seconds. Lap 5 of the race. It's a 20-minute race. We use this opening race of the day to work out how many laps we'll have, and then for race 2 and race 3, it's a laps race as opposed to a time race. So we're just approaching the halfway mark. Rob Graham putting in a personal best, but as things stand, it is an Apex Racing 1-2. With Savidovic leading Sedgwick, and then Steve Baxter in 3rd, McIntyre 4th, and Thompson in 5th, who did pretty well in the World GT Championship at Imola on Monday night.
Yeah, it's going well for the Apex guys at the moment, which obviously we're going to be happy about. But you've got to think now, Sedgwick might act as a bit of a Valtteri Bottas to Savinovic being Hamilton right now. He's going to probably want to defend this. Now he's past Baxter, the threat is obviously still there, but they're going to be able to manage it a bit better. They'll be communicating constantly, just letting each other know what's going on. Whether he's got, like Savinovic will be saying if he's got a slower run out of the corner, or whether he wants him to back him up or not. Well, that is all over the place for Cedric there. That is on the limitation of car control there. But these guys follow each other so closely down here. It's amazing to see that trust. It's just really showing the class of the field, isn't it?
Yeah, this is what we love about Race 1. We love the lottery of Race 2 and Race 3 with the reverse grid. But in Race 1, we see the fastest guys in the field doing their business at the front end. Look at that. It's almost like a dirt bike going down there.
Really is. Jack Cedric then, full opposite lock, trying to keep that car and going. He's turning left to go right. It's like something out of Cars. We see then McIntyre and Baxter side by side down the straight. Over the crest they go. Thompson seems to be fading away a little bit there actually, but I'm sure with the slipstream we'll be back with them. Side by side then through the chase. Side by side still. Bouncing a little bit over the curb. McIntyre is on the outside, so Baxter's going to keep the control over that corner. Through the second part though, I'm sure McIntyre's not going to let him get away with it. We saw Jack doing some brilliant driving here in the MX-5 on Tuesday, and I'm sure he's going to be hoping to repeat his results there. Getting a right wobble on the brakes though. As you were saying, Adam, you have to wrestle this thing around to get it slowed, and Jack McIntyre proving that twice over.
Yeah, Jack Sedgwick channeling his inner Doc Hudson there. Don't know who will be the Chick Weathers of this field at the end of the evening, but right now Savinovic is definitely the Lightning McQueen of the field. He's leading them up the hill again on lap 6, and Baxter's now got McIntyre to worry about. McIntyre in the Northern Lights Racing stable, but he is starting to apply the pressure as we come up to the bottom of the hill at Griffin's Bend. Long uphill right-hander, and we did see a few cars bouncing off the outside wall and not picking up too much damage either, but now it looks like it's a bit of a stalemate between the front 5, all eager to get points. Josh Thompson is sat in 48th place in the championship. He's won 2 times, picks up the 4 podiums, driving for CQR, it says on our timing now, so he'll be helping them to win the team's championship. As we look a bit further back through the field to Nathan Davis and Mark Woodhouse, these two were battling earlier on, and that also shows no signs of abating 6 laps into the race.
Yeah, they're going to be going at it right till the flag drops at the end. Mark Woodhouse has been a real hard charger recently. He's just been getting his consistent points. As Rusty Layla was saying at Brands Hatch, he's just had a lot of rotten luck, but it was good for him to turn it around and get high up results in the latter races of the day. And he's in 17th at the moment though, so that's still going to get him a good chunk of points, and he's not really that close to anybody, so he's going to stay out of trouble and possibly bring it to the end in that position, I'd say. So I'm sure he'll be happy with that, really. I mean, anything within the top 20 in a series like this, you've got to be happy with. Obviously, some of these guys at the front, we call them aliens, and they really are. They're just the way they can control the car and get it around the circuit. Oh, that was Davis there, giving the wall a nice kiss. And he's going to compromise his line down the straight. There was another Apex car further up there going slow. I think that might have been Simmons, actually.
One car that has had to call it in this early race is Max Wright. He's back in the pits again. Yeah, damage for Davis. You can see car crabbing a little bit actually as we went down the straight there. Couldn't tell as we go through the chase now. The car's definitely in terms of the damage, it looks like it's really suffering out there. Doesn't look like he's got a meatball flag though, so he will carry on for now at least. Going through the final corner, Murray's down to the front straight again to start another lap. 7 laps completed. It is just over a 2-minute lap here in the BSRTC, as you can see by the lap times sliding out on the priming tower. And here's the battle for 6th and 7th. This is really the best of the rest after that front group. It's hammered up the inside of Brian Holmes. Holmes is hung out to dry. You can see the dust and the marbles and everything else, the leaves on the track, and it means Chazzy's going to lose. He's going to lose a place to Simpson as well, and nearly loses a place to Rushworth. Holmes now down to 8th.
Yeah, these boys now 2 on 2, 2 CQR cars against 2 Apex cars. Holmes really just did going a little bit hot there around the outside. It just didn't work for him. Like you say, all the dust and the marbles and the rubbish on the outside isn't going to help you there, because it's a high-speed part of the track coming into quite a hefty braking zone. You're going uphill as well, so the car tries to wash out a little bit. Alex is going to be chasing Pete really hard though, but I mean, if Pete's running a loose setup tonight, then you know by now that Pete Harrod likes the rear end of a car to be loose. He's certainly talented in that arena. But
Sorry.
It's so high. I was just about to say, it's just great to watch them flowing down the hill.
Yeah.
Look how quickly they get it down there. It's frightening, isn't it?
Yeah, they just went through Brock's Skyline, named after V8 supercar legend Peter Brock. Sorry, supercars legend Peter Brock. Name update. Won the Bathurst 1009 times. Won the Bathurst 24 hours once as well. Only king of the mountain here, but I wonder who's going to be the king of the BSRTC around this track as we go through not Brock's Skyline. We go through the Caltex Chase this time through the right-hander. I'm sure at one point tonight we'll get the overlay to show us what speeds they're getting through there. But Pete Harrod now negotiating the curbs of the chase, and there's the CQR car 6, now back to the front 5 again. Craig Williams has had to jump to the pits. Steve Baxter almost glued to the back of the Apex Racing car of Jack Sedgwick there. Sedgwick doing a fantastic job. Yes, like you mentioned earlier, Chaz, the Valtteri Bottas role. I'm sure Valtteri wouldn't want to hear that if he is watching tonight.
Sorry,
Valtteri. If you're watching, we did see him clip the podium board when he got to pit lane afterwards to show his frustration with what happened at the Russian Grand Prix on Sunday. It's Japan this weekend, which is where we head to next week. Make sure you can join us for that one. But McIntyre trying to get past his teammates here. But I think in terms of these guys at the front, they're all right where they want to be. 2 Apex cars at the front, 2 Northern Lights Racing GT Omega and Northern Lights Racing Scuderia Haggis cars in 3rd and 4th, and then Josh Thompson for CQR in 5th, just keeping a watching brief, hoping to gain any positions if something were to happen later on.
Yeah, they're just, like you say, they're going to be happy with where they are, I think. They're just probably chasing each other for fun at this point. But you do have to think that McIntyre, though, is putting a lot of pressure on Baxter when it gets to that first section of track. But McIntyre's quick round here, was that Thompson clipping the wall? Sounded like a hefty bit of contact, and he's dropped off a little bit. I'd put a little bit of money on that, but these guys are so close. I come back to what I was saying before, that they follow each other so closely down here. But that's what happens when these guys get used to racing each other, and when you've got a well-established series like this, you were saying that race one's the best for this, and you get all the quicker guys at the front because of qualifying, naturally does that. And it's just a fantastic sight to watch. And talking to sights to watch, Sedgwick there, nearly at 45 degrees to the racing surface, pointing right as he goes into a left-hander. It's amazing.
Down to the Conrod straight then. 0.2 of a second between Savidovic and Baxter. We'll see if that closes down at all. We go over the top of the hill. There they go. Down to 1/10. Don't think he's going to go for the lead, Sedgwick, but we'll wait and see anyway. We've still got, we might just get 2 more laps when we get to the line. Frantically doing the maths. When we get to the line, there will be 2.5 minutes to go, so we will get 2 more laps in, just about, when we get back after the next lap. And it's anyone's game. You could throw a blanket over all 5 of these guys at the moment, all doing such a good job. They'll be hoping that when it comes to race 2 and race 3, they'll be able to get their way to the front, because they'll be trying to get these podium credits, which determine your place in the showdown as they come across the line. 2:12.1 by Savidovic. 2:12.1 also for McIntyre and Thompson in 4th and 5th. It's the 2 Apex Racing cars that were the quickest on that last lap. And George Simmons is trying to get himself up a place here as he goes up the inside of Glatzel. But again, the outside line proving to be very important in the early stages. Glatzel using it to his advantage, and he remains in 14th place for now going into Hell Corner. And he's able to swoop in front of Simmons. So Glatzel stays in 14th.
Yeah, it's just about carrying the momentum for a lot of these corners around here. A lot of them are that tight, and there's no run-off areas for you to utilise mainly. So it is a case of just trying to keep it round the outside in certain places. Obviously, it doesn't work everywhere. We all know that in motorsport, that the outside line's not always favoured. But as you say, Adam, it's proven in certain scenarios tonight that it's working, as we see 2 CQR cars passing each other there. That's Blackhall getting past Stuart McFadden, who's now gained 18 places. Blackhall's gained 15. Sven Glatzel, actually, we were looking at a minute ago, has gained 16. So those boys right on the money at the moment with getting through the pack. I was going to say without issue, but if you look at the state of Blackhall's car, you know that something's happened to it. He's had a good few knocks and barges to it. Whether that was the wall or other cars, it remains to be seen. But these guys are getting firm top 20 finishes at the moment, and I'm sure that CQR will be happy enough with that. They've been absolutely blitzing it in the Teams Championship. And, well, I'm sure they'll continue that till the end of the season.
Problem for Pete Newman. You can see there he's in the pits, so not good for him. There he goes. He's actually come into the pits of his own accord, so that's what it looks like anyway. I'm not too sure. He stops just before the yellow cone, so Don't know whether the engine might have blown, but back to the chase. And the chase for first as Sedgwick looks up the inside going into the chicane, but no way through yet. And as you can see, we are just before the 20-minute mark, so we will get one more lap around here, which means that tonight we're going to get 10 laps worth of action. And Sedgwick, just from going from attacking Savinovic, he then had to defend from Stephen Baxter, who's trying to gate crash what, as things stand, will be an Apex Racing 1-2.
Yeah, well, look at the body language of the car. He definitely wants to gate crash something. Baxter down the inside, then into Hell Corner. Great move. Gets it done. Gives Cedric room outside. Oh, no. That's a real shame, that is. And hopefully those boys get it off the track as soon as they can, and they have done naturally anyway. That's a real shame to see that. I'm not quite sure who that would have been on. I mean, I'm not going to point any fingers right now. It's a bit too soon to jump on that, but it was really close racing up to that point. It just seemed like one of them. Well, we'll have another look then. Looks like Baxter might have just washed wide into him. I've just got them as a couple of minuscule pixels on my screen at the moment, but I don't know.
That's how it looks from atop the mountain anyway.
Yeah.
Looking down, I think it's that case of the cars getting stuck together, and
yeah,
with that tyre barrier approaching on the outside, it wasn't going to end well, and it's music to CQR's ears, because what's become an Apex Racing, what was going to be an Apex Racing 1-2 is now going to be a CQR 3-4. Alex Simpson has benefited from that. He's up to 5th, but it now means that Josh Thompson's 3rd, and Jack McIntyre for Northern Lights Racing, Scuderia Haggis, has been promoted up into 2nd place. So top 3 has changed somewhat from the start of the lap, and as long as no major incidents happen, it looks like this is going to be the top 3 with a third of the lap to go. Simmons has jumped to the pits as well, so it's the problems for Apex pile up. Problem for George Simmons. There he is. He's wrecked on the same part of the track where his teammate crashed out.
Yeah, not quite sure what's happened to him there. That's another shame to see. He was having such a great race. As we jump back then and have a look.
Pits at this point.
Yeah, he's already in there, isn't he?
I think he was just trying to stay. I don't think he wanted to go 2 laps down, so he was trying to come back out. The car was severely damaged. He was trying his best, and then when he got up to some sort of speed, it really had it.
It was about to spit him out of the wall then, wasn't it? As Savinovic then is about to come across the line and win the race. Nice controlled drive from Wojciech as always, very mature in his driving. McIntyre not too far behind him though, putting a late charge. You see him wobbling the car around there in celebration. Thompson finishes a great 3rd, and then it's Pete Harrod. Alex Simpson just challenging for 4th in the end, but doesn't quite get there. Holmes is 6th. Rush was 7th then, so that battle staying as it was, side by side over the line for Baker and Hadfield. Those boys battle until the end as well, with McNally actually rounding out the top 10. I'm sure Adam will be happy with that result.
Yeah, he definitely will. Just looking at his top 10s, that's his 10th top 10 of the season. Here comes the native. Jake Blackhall comes across the line to finish in 16th place, with Stuart McFadden just behind him. Here's Rob Graham versus Paul Smith. Paul Smith, a former winner round here. Don't think he's going to be getting it in race 1. He might get it in race 2 or 3, and he's trying to get past Rob Graham here, but he can't. Graham gets 21st, Smith 22nd. Kip Stevens, 2-time champion of the BSRTC, gets the 23rd place.
Really, really exciting racing as always around here then. The pack actually still quite condensed. I mean, there was a bit of spreading out, but Wojciech there, as you can see, he just controlled it, doesn't he? He always does with these races. He's just got natural pace, but he doesn't make it too extravagant either, does he? He doesn't make it look hard. He always makes it look easy when he's running away with it.
His 23rd podium of the season, Wojciech Savinovic. So he's the trophy cabinet is at bursting point, I reckon, for him across his illustrious BSRTC career. An average finish of 13th for Wojciech as well. So he's really doing the business around here, and that is his 9th win of the campaign. Right then, cars heading back to the pit lane, and we'll have the reverse grid to look forward to as well. We're waiting for George Simmons to cross the line, actually. We saw what happened to him earlier, but I think he still needs to finish. Oh, he's trying. I think I think it's because if he doesn't finish, he'll be classed as 2 laps down. And the field know that. They're trying to slow down for him. He's trying to get to the line, because every point counts. Every point counts, Chaz. And a load of points for finishing 30th, which in the BSRTC point system means if you do finish 30th, you get so many more points than if you just get a 0.
Yeah, definitely. He's really trying. It's just so painful for him. Bless him. He's really trying, but I'm not sure whether he will end up that far down. You can see the state of the thing. It's become an open wheel car at the front end. He's just really trying. I'm not sure. You can't physically see the rendering of it, but something's definitely broken on that left rear, because every time he goes to go anywhere, it just tries to step out and turn right, doesn't it?
Probably more chance. There's probably less chance of it crashing if he got out and pushed it, to be fair. As he comes through the final corner now, you can also see that they've remodeled the front of that Kia on iRacing. You can actually see the Kia branding inside the car. I think he's going to cross the line. Could even cross the line in the pit lane if he wanted. Here he comes. Credit to him. If this was a sports day at school, he'd be getting the plaudits off everybody here as he comes through the final corner. In fact, I think he's ran out of time because the checkered flag for the race finished has just come up. So I don't know whether he's going to be classed as 1 or 2 laps down. We'll wait and see when the official results come up on the screen. But credit to him. His persistence has hopefully paid off for him as he comes across the line and finishes in 30th place. Okay, so let's get those results up then. And in a moment, we'll set the grid for the second race of the day. Wojciech Savinovic then, his 9th win of the season. Jack McIntyre finishes in 2nd, Josh Thompson making it 3 different teams in the top 3 positions. Petey Harrod finishes in 4th, Alex Simpson in 5th place with the fastest lap of the race as well. The only driver to set a lap time in the 2-minute 10s. 6th for Brian Holmes, 7th for Jamie Rushworth, 8th David Baker, 9th Adam Hadfield, the highest of the AMs, and 10th for Adam McNally. 11th Mark Johnston, completing a trio of Pro-Am drivers. 12th place finish for Sven Glatzel. Stephen Baxter, 5th in the championship, finishing in 13th. Nathan Davis managed to get 14th despite the substantial damage to his car. Mark Woodhouse, 15th. Jake Blackhall in 16th place. Stuart McFadden, one of the biggest movers, in fact the biggest mover, confirmed, finishes in 17th. Jack Sedgwick, 18th place in the end after the crash at the first corner. Will Daniels, 19th. 20th for Chris Wood. Rob Graham, 21st. Paul Smith right on his tail in the end, finished in 22nd, just 2 tenths behind him. Kip Stevens, 23rd. 24th for Christian Rose. Michael Hall finishing in 25th. Then Scott Malcolm and Rusty Laidler, 26th and 27th. They could be contenders for the reverse grid. Ross McFarlane and Diogo Melro, despite their crashes on the opening lap of the race, still managed to finish 28th and 29th. There you go, Chaz, how important that was. George Simmons, 30th, 1 lap down. Pete Newman, no points for him, he finished 2 laps down. And then Michael Blake, 3 laps down in 32nd place. 33rd for Craig Williams, Lee Deemer, Martin Front, Max Wright, all having issues in the early laps of the race. And there's more. Nicole Foggy, championship leader, no points in this race. Dan Brown, same for him. Colin Cunniff also having issues. Cunniff sat in he's sat in 23rd place in the championship. I thought he'd be higher than that. He's finished in 39th, 9 laps down. And Tristan Bodis in the Team Mad car, the first car to suffer difficulty in the opening race of the day. You'll be starting right at the back for race 2.
Yeah, it's a real shame for those guys there, further down the order. They've, they've just had a bit of a nightmare, haven't they, to be honest? There's no other way of putting it. Like I said earlier, I was talking to Nickel yesterday, and he was obviously saying it's important for him to get through this without incident. And unfortunately, in the first race tonight, he's not managed that, so I'm pretty sure he'll be fuming. Be interesting to see whether he can make it through the next one, because obviously he's going to be starting at the back of the grid again.
We're about to find out who's going to be on pole. We've got Sam Kumo here with the reverse grid wheel, and he's going to determine, or the wheel's going to determine, but he'll push it. Who's going to be on the pole for the second race of the day, so?
Yep, I will push it, and I think we will get a great grid for this one. It is full -1.
Well, full -1. Unfortunately for George Simmons, that's not going to be him.
Poor George.
But it does mean that Diogo Melro goes on to pole position for race 2. And what does the rest of the top 5 look like, Chaz, for that one?
We've got Ross McFarlane 2nd on the grid. Russell Laidler is 3rd, with Scott Malcolm 4th, and Michael Hall lining up 5th. And importantly as well, Christian Rose is behind that, so that's another one of the CQR cars up there as well. So they must obviously try and keep their cars clean at the front and get a lot of points out of this one.
Yeah, never mind close quarter racing, which is what CQR stands for. I think they'll be looking for clean quarter racing there. That doesn't even make sense, but and it's a very poor pun as well. So I think before we get lynched, we're gonna go for a break, and we're gonna be back in a few moments for the second race of the day, the British Sim Racers Touring Car Championship here at Mount Panorama in Bathurst.
And Michael Tucker will be free to put down his foot whenever he feels like it. And we can now see them roaring through the final corner. And here we go. Race 1 of the evening is underway. Michael Tucker hasn't got an awesome start. And Jamie Ayres, if he wants to win this race, he's got to put some pressure on him going into turn 1. Tucker, though, covers the inside. And Ayres struggles to mount an attack. Maybe into turn 2, he can have a chance. But just running a little bit wide as Jamie Ayres. And all of a sudden, he's just dropped back a tenth or so. He's still looking to the inside, but he cannot make the move.
Always a good pace. He's improving quite significantly in the last few rounds we've seen him in, and it's good to see him on P3. And Robinson is in the gravel there. Not so right, he's keeping it close. Oh, Clark is taken in the fence. Bad crash there.
Teddy Clark.
Yeah, also Underhill, I think, went into the gravel. Let's see, it might be two separate crashes. We got it on the back end of the camera shot, yeah. Oh no! Oh, that's what happened there. You know, beginning of the race I thought that Kallinan had pace to attack. Oh, no. Spin for Jacobson there.
Michael Tucker, though, is coming around the final few corners right now, and he is going to a pace car just coming around the final corner. Robinson can go when he chooses. It's Robinson from the pole position. Malcolm in second. Boy, does this matter in the AM Championship, and the overall championship is not decided at all as well. As Robinson pulls away. Brilliant start as well for Max Wright. He's already on the inside of Scott Malcolm, so that should be a simple move up in second place, but Malcolm thinks otherwise. He's going to hang it round the outside into turn 1, and going into Druids, the second and third place drivers are side by side. Max Wright trying to go down the inside, but Malcolm has done brilliantly to fend off him, although he is still a little bit wide. Josh Thompson has had a bit of a spin in the background, but still Malcolm is having to defend. It's Jamie Ayres running in 4th position, gaining a position on Rafe Cannon, with Michael Abdoka so far unable to make a move. But here comes Jamie Ayres, and he's going to have a move on Max Wright. So Max Wright, Marco, challenging for 2nd position, and look at this, he may drop down even into 6th position now.
Yeah, and we have a huge mid-pack with 4 cars, Ayres, Wright, Kallinan, Evdoka, all coming for the same piece of real estate, and Kallinan saves the car. Kallinan is trying to close the gap. Let's see the replay of the move here. Very brave.
Nice move.
Wow, that was very brave from Jamie Ayres.
Quite sure what his pace is like, but his racecraft is so strong, he may stand a chance. Michael Abdoka is down the inside of Max Wright, and if he can just push out right here, he can't really do so because he took he wasn't comfortable with that line, but he has now pulled ahead, and I doubt Wright is going to be able to fight back into this next corner. Not much of a big thing, and Abdoka moves up into the top 4.
Scott Malcolm will defend hard but fair as usual. Now on the inside, Abdoka, good run in the first corner, side by side. Man, they are extremely close. There's nothing in it. Abdoka will have the inside on Druids. Let's see. Can he complete the pass? He can. Nice move by Michael Abdoka there.
Abdoka can go chase down the top 2. You can see Josh Thompson just behind these 2 drivers, and actually Jamie Ayres has taken the lead of Colin Robinson. So though. I saw the gap was close. Here comes Max Wright, though, round the outside of Scott Malcolm. This would be an awesome move, but he is off the circuit, and he's going to lose a position to Josh Thompson. It could have been a whole lot worse than that. So he lost the position to Rafe Cullinan there.
Here comes the replay, going to Druids. Mistake from Robinson, I think. We went a bit wide. Ayers didn't need a second invitation and made the move quite easily.
And Malcolm, he's really been faultless so far today, and as we see Evdoka already make the move on Colin Robinson. It is ever so close between Cullinan and Malcolm, and this final corner is where Malcolm particularly struggles, at least what I've seen, and he's trying to go for the move is Rafe Cullinan. They're both wide, and the driver who's going to profit from this is of course Josh Thompson. He's already made one move on Rafe Cullinan. Max Wright trying to get involved, and he's going to go to the inside. It's 3 wide going into turn 1 here at Brands Hatch. This is fantastic racing, and Josh Thompson has made that move. Max Wright was smart just to back out, and he is going to try to come back though. It's Rafe Cullinan trying to get the cut back, but Max Wright profiting from this, and there's contact amongst all 3 of them. Wright still going for the move, but eventually Thompson makes the mistake, and Cullinan only loses the 1 position.
And now we see the replay of what happened here with Scott Malcolm. So Cullinan went through at Druids, then right. Ooh, he lost the car, didn't hit the barriers, so he is okay, but of course, position lost there to Max Wright for Scott Malcolm.
He's going to probably have to look for an alternative overtaking spot. Michael Evdoka, maybe a bit of a surprise take into this one, but again, Ayers is very deep on the brakes. It does take us a slightly wide line. That might be a chance for Evdoka, but down here, as long as you just cover the inside line, there's not a whole lot the other driver can do. But Evdoka is going to go for the inside line here, and Ayers has not covered it off, and this could cost him the race lead here. Jamie Ayers round the outside of Michael Evdoka. Evdoka has got the inside for the next one, and he failed to cover off the opportunity for Evdoka, and Evdoka is round, and he's going to be in the wall, and the championship leader is in all kinds of trouble now.
Ayers is waiting for him, but the damage is done, I think, because Evdoka's car is completely smashed on the front right. Let's see the replay. That was a hard hit for Evdoka. I think he will have to stop for repairs.
So just a really poor lap, seemingly, this from Rafe Cullinan, and it has allowed Max Wright to close right up onto the back of him, and down the inside will go the Mercedes. We've seen the outside line from Scott Malcolm working several times today, and it's worked brilliantly for Rafe Cullinan this time, but he has not got this move covered. Still down the inside is Max Wright, but hanging around the outside is the BMW driver, and he's going to have the inside for Graham Hill Bend. Still side by side those between these 2 drives, and actually a much better exit for Max Wright. And this time there's no response from Rafe Cullinan. Max Wright moves up into 4th position. Now only 1 more corner for Michael Evdoka to tackle. He's already got 1 triple this season at Phillip Island, and it looks as though he's building up to 1 today as well. He's a little bit wide though, and Jamie Ayers might stand a chance here as they race to the line. The team Mercedes, who is going to win this one? It's Jamie Ayers.
Jamie Ayers is the winner.
I cannot believe it. Just as I was speaking up to Michael Evdoka, perhaps lining up another triple today, it is Jamie Ayers who has stolen the race victory by just half a tenth of a second. He will start on pole position for race 3. Jamie Ayers leading the cars around, again dropping back as we've seen a lot of today, and he will now put his foot down, and Michael Evdoka in 2nd position consolidates that 2nd position. And can he mount an attack on Jamie Ayers going into turn 1? It doesn't seem like he is going to be able to, although he is into the slipstream. Ayers has got to be watching his mirrors down into turn 1 and down into Druids as well. Ayers a little bit deeper on the brakes. Evdoka, nice run through turn 1, and he might stand a chance for 2. Ayers has got to go defensive here, but he's very late to defend, and Evdoka nearly had a chance down the inside.
Evdoka was on the timing screen. Oh, look at that! Oh!
He seemed to have decent pace, and I think he would have kind of got quicker as the race went on. Michael Evdoka is down the inside in turn 2 against Jamie Ayers, but Ayers has got the ideal line down into Graham Hill Bend, and he's held on to that P1 position for now, but he has not fended off the inside line. Once again, he's trying to almost squeeze Evdoka on the inside, but Evdoka will go around the outside, and he might even try to push out his opponent. They are side by side now, heading into the next quick right-hander, and they are side by side down the bridge as well. It's fantastic battling between these two, and Evdoka is round the outside, and he's surely going to make this mistake. Yes, he is. Jamie Ez with no answer to that overtake from Michael Evdoka. He just carried the speed round the outside, and he has taken the lead, Marco.
What happened to Anthony Jacobson? Oh, thanks Lapper. Oh, bad crash.
And he just carried a little bit too much speed. No, he clipped the grass on the entry, and that was how he lost the car there. He will not want to finish last of the runners, and I must say right now it doesn't look like he will do.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned because Malcolm and Andri had extremely short stops compared to the other drivers. So as Dimmer gets by, so we'll have to keep an eye on their fuel numbers.
Underhill doesn't have to rush this one because it's only a matter of time until he makes the move.
Wow,
okay.
Another short fueling car, and Malcolm just gave up on the battle.
It's not going to be the triple today. He's got it once before already in the season at Phillip Island. And after a mistake at the end of race 2, it's not going to be the triple, but it is going to be a double for Michael Evdoka. He rounds the final corner here at Brands Hatch and steps that one step closer to the overall title. Michael Evdoka wins race 3 here at Brands Hatch. From me, from Marco, and from Sam, we'll see you next time, and we'll say goodbye for now.
Hi there, I'm Richard Jobling, Senior Software Engineer here at iRacing. I'd like to show you some of the work that we've been doing to improve the collision and the damage in our sim. One of the major changes we've made is how our collision systems work. The old system stored the track as parametric surfaces, and the cars were made of collections of spheres. As the cars moved around the track, we would recompute planes using the track surfaces, and then test those against the spheres. This worked well for spheres, but was too specialized to adapt to our shapes. So for the new system, we've built new high-resolution meshes for each track. This is more efficient and gives us a lot more flexibility for the car shapes. The new mesh incorporates all the track features our guys work so hard to replicate. Things like curb geometry and changes in the surface material are all baked into the mesh. We've also taken our laser scan data and applied that to the mesh. And since the mesh is so high resolution, we capture all the detail that's necessary so that the tracks are just like the real thing. With our new mesh, we can now represent cars using smooth, convex hulls, which grouped together form the chassis, the bodywork, and all the other parts of the car. The new shapes are a much closer fit to the shape of the real car. During impacts, the shapes can deform according to the damage, and eventually they can break off as separate objects. All the parts, like wings, hoods, and wheels, can also hang from their joints, flapping and vibrating until they eventually snap off. All these changes are going to add a whole new level of realism to our races. If you want to find out more, please visit iRacing.com and check out my blog post for lots more details.
Hi, my name is Greg Hill. I'm the Vice President of Art and Production here at iRacing. This damage project that we've been discussing is certainly a project that involved all hands on deck to pull off. We've got a rather sizable number of cars in our portfolio, and not all of these cars have been built with this dynamic damage system in mind. So what we had to do is one by one go through our race cars, and we had a team of 3 artists, a highly technical modeler, our technical art director, and our associate art director. All took on each car one at a time, and the work involved was researching that car, researching what would happen to that car if it were in a crash, depending on the forces involved in the crash, how severely it would be damaged, what parts might come off, what those pieces might look like when they're removed, what it would look like where the car has areas exposed that were previously covered by bodywork. So they had to do a lot of modeling to each race car, and they had to do a lot of work to essentially set up how the car would react to forces. So essentially setting the strength of the materials. What kind of force would it take to rip off this side pod, for example? Or under what circumstances would this nose cone get ripped off of a car? Or under which would it remain, but just be badly damaged? But all said, it's been a lot of work, but seeing the car models interact with the physics system and the new crash dynamics is really exciting and really cool to see, and definitely makes all that hard work worth it.
Hi, my name is Jose Diaz. I'm a visual effects artist at iRacing. I specialize in particle effects ranging from fireworks to water fountains, debris, crash, impacts, all in the service of improving the driving experience. So you have the main sort of new damage model that Richard's been working on. So that takes into consideration all the mounts and the chassis from the cars and which materials they are. And he's making all the calculations that tell you, like, okay, it got hit from this one side and the strength of that impact is this certain amount of values. If you hit something, that means that this mount gets off, something breaks. This gets added on top of that to sort of complement what is happening there with things that you would see in real life when a car crashes. So typically in a car crash, you will see all this little
We're back for race 2 of the day in the BSRTC here at Mount Panorama Bathurst. Adam Bath with Chaz Draycott, Sam Kumo on the cameras, and looks like someone's discovered the launch pad, haven't they, down at the chase, haven't they, Chaz, during the warm-up. Jack McIntyre, points for effort. He's going to be starting deep in the midfield, though.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of drivers fling it down the chase, carry straight on, and there's a massive sort of dip in the gravel, and if you hit it hard enough, you'll sort of bounce over the tyre barrier. And Jack McIntyre showed us how it's done. As everyone looks down the grid, then we've got Diogo Melro and Ross McFarlane on the front row of the grid. Cars 115 and 15. So it's hopefully going to be an interesting battle between these guys. We've got 2 pros, then 2 AMs, and then there's a bit of a grouping as the red lights come on.
Alex Simpson, Nicole Foggy starting from the pit lane. Here we go. Underway for the second race then. Diogo Melro's got Paul Smith as a teammate. I wonder if he's given him any pearls of wisdom before the race gets underway. He's going to get the lead into first corner, or will he? Because he's just done a full-on drift through the first corner, and straight through goes Ross McFarlane. And Rusty Laidler should get second place as well on the run up to turn 2.
One of the CQR cars going off in the background there. Just trying to see if I can find out who that is. I think it was Dave Baker, actually. A bit of an uncharacteristic mistake there by Dave. As they come flying up the hill then, it's McFarlane in the lead, Laidler up to second, great start by him, Melro now down to third after that little initial D-style entrance into turn 1, just need to put a bit of Eurobeat over that, as I'm sure Sam Fitzpatrick might do, and then we'll be sorted. Look at Scott Malcolm then in 6th place, defending from Kip Stevens as they bunch up, Smith gets a tap in the rear then, just about gets it slowed down, doesn't he?
Very close there to disaster there as Smith went up the inside of Stevens.
Sedgwick flying through as well, actually, sorry, just in 11th place there. He's already gained, where is he? How many has he got? Well, it says 1 place apparently, but I thought he was, oh no, he had the incident earlier, didn't he?
Last lap, didn't he?
Yeah, he'll be a bit further up the field than Wojciech and those boys. Nearly into the wall there for Chris Wood, that is, in the Team Mad car, and that's, I believe, Scott Malcolm, sorry, it's Rob Graham, I apologise. Getting a bit mixed up with my Automat cars here as they go down into Skyline. Look at all them boys in the background, that's just mental.
Now through the dipper. There we go. This is where we saw the big crash at the start of race 1. McIntyre's crashed. Slow down as well for for one of the cars, I think. Nathan Davis,
yeah.
Who picked up quite a lot of damage in race 1. Here's the battle for second, though. Problem for Simmons, I think. That's who it is at the bottom of the screen. But look at this, side by side through the chase. Melro up into second place. He lost the lead at the start, but he's got one of those places back straight away. Team Mad car up to second.
Looks like Alex Simpson's had issues as well. He's been in the pits and come back out. Nicole Foggy is the same fate. As down the inside there, that's Sven Glatzel going down the inside of, I believe, William Daniels. And that's one of the Northern Lights Scuderia Haggis cars. Johnston involved in that as well. That was the number 54 car in there with him. That's Adam McNally. He had a great result in race 1. Nearly T-boned him, man.
Yeah. Automat car involved as well. There goes poor Adam McNally. Billy Deemer also into the pits too.
I think it was Max Wright that was involved with him there. He's the Automat car that's quite further down the order now. We'll have to have see if we can have a quick look back then at what happened to that, because it's a bit of a nasty area for them to have an accident like that. Then they come down the chase side by side. Oh, he's just going to clip the grass, isn't he? And he just comes back across. To be fair, both the Immortal cars lost it. Well, he made a little bit more contact there with McNally, but that could have been a lot worse off when he came back on.
Yeah, 51 was. Yeah. Sorry.
It's all right. I was going to say, luckily though, he hit the car that hit him, so it didn't sort of involve any other innocent parties in the accident. As we look now at Sedgwick, up to 10th place with McFadden behind him. McFadden's gained 2 places as well already.
51 was Mark Johnston, who was the one that started it all off. And yeah, this is a fantastic scrap for 10th on back. Sedgwick leading them round. Then it's Stuart McFadden, who was the biggest mover in the opening race. Then it's Rob Graham, Sven Glatzel, Daniels, and then Jake Blackhall. So it's a good mix of pro and pro-am drivers in this field. Now over the top of the hill into the chase. Glatzel taking probably a better line than Graham was there. He missed the inside wall by quite a bit. Now through the dipper, running up the speed again towards Forest Elbow. And then
got Colin Cunniff going down the order just now. Sorry, I just noticed he had an incident little thing flash up on our timing screen, and he's just gone and dropped down a couple of places now. Nicole Foggy is closing in on him. I think he's got going again, but he's definitely had an incident somewhere and dropped down.
Paul Smith just at the front of that shot looked like he was getting pretty close to the back of Kip Stevens going into the chase. He might be wheel to wheel with him. Indeed he is, and he's through. So Paul Smith up to 7th. Kip Stevens down to 8th, misses the apex just a little bit there. Paul going through the chicane, and now this is really going to bunch up things because here comes Paul Smith's teammate Chris Wood. Might look at the inside going into the final corner here, and not much that Kip Stevens can do about it unless he wants to run it out round the outside, which he is. And Stevens should be able to hold on to it because now here comes Jack Sedgwick. This has held them up so much that Sedgwick, who was nowhere near these guys at the start of the previous lap, is now right with them and is now up into 9th place as Diogo Melro puts in the fastest lap of the day so far, 2:10.7.
Yeah, he's really going to be enjoying this now as he's gaining the places and obviously having battles, but it's staying clean for him at the moment. I mean, we had that in race 1 and obviously it didn't last till the end. Just back to Paul Smith as well, he's obviously just put in that great move to be now 3rd in the race in terms of the AM drivers on the field. He said he's had 2 wins in the BSRTC already round here. He's even got wins in other events like the Bathurst 12 Hours, so he knows this track like the back of his hand, and he's proved before that he's got the pace here, so for him to be in the top 10 is, well, no surprise if you know that about him already.
It's amazing that Paul can get it done at a circuit like this, but when it comes to tracks like the Motegi Oval, which we ran a few seasons ago, that was a total disaster. Obviously different configurations of circuit altogether. I'm just winding Paul up really here, but the Team Madcar doing very well in 7th place. I'm sure he's got a stream going as well. Look at Rob Graham absolutely flinging the coal. Oh, that's too much, and he's over.
Yeah. That's going to be big.
Oh,
although,
well done.
Play. Yeah, very fair play there. I'm not sure he meant to bounce off the top of that Northern Lights car, but whoever that was will be counting their lucky stars. He just gets it on the curb.
Yeah, he was following.
He hit the wall.
Yeah. Both of them were on the verge of out of control going through McPhillamy Park, and I think Glatzel was a bit unfortunate there.
I've done that before actually in the World GT Championship. It's not pleasant, I can tell you that, especially when you're quite high up in the order before you do it.
Here comes Jack Sedgwick. He wants to get high up the order. He's going the right way about it. He's up to 7th place now. He's just got past Paul Smith, and within the space of half a lap, you could expect that he could get past Scott Malcolm, but it's going to be very tough to pass. As always in the BSRTC, it's going to get more tougher the higher up the order you go. And Scott Malcolm is going to try everything in his power to keep the Automet car in 6th place. But Sedgwick is a man on a mission, especially after what happened at the end of the opening race, where him and Steve Baxter collided going through this very corner, turn 1, hell corner. I think it might be the writing on the wall here, and indeed it is. Sedgwick, 2 positions in 2 corners pretty much. The Apex Racing car now through up into 6th place, 6 positions gained. Next up is Rusty Laidler, and you can see how far away he is from the race lead. He is not 3 seconds, he is 7 seconds away from the race lead.
He's definitely hard charging through the field at the moment. Then he's got one more AM driver in front of him. Rusty Laidler leading the AM class at the moment. Scott Malcolm second in that, with Paul Smith still in 3rd. But he's got 3 CQR cars ahead of him now as Sedgwick, so like I said earlier about the communication between these teammates, it's going to be paramount for them to make sure that they slow his progress. They want to get as many championship points as they can. Ross McFarlane's still leading the way at the moment with quite a gap to Melro, it seems, or I don't know whether that's my timing screen telling me a few little fibs. But it's good to see these CQR boys then controlling at the front. They had a bit of a nightmare at Brands Hatch with quite a lot being involved in incidents, but they're bouncing back now down the mountain.
I think it's
sorry, go on.
I think it's half a second between McFarlane and Melro. I think that's what the timing screen says. I'm sure if we cut to it, there it is. That is half a second.
Definitely not 5 seconds, is it?
It is 5 seconds between Melro and Michael Hall. That is for sure. Jake Blackwell's crashed, so that is a shame. He did get inside the top 18 in race 1 at his home event, and it might not be his fault here. He's got punted out of the way, and get on the brakes there. Well, he went through him, and that's the joy of the Australian internet right there. I think I'm trying to work out which Apex car that was. It may have been it may have been George Simmons. He was very happy with to see that car go straight through him.
Yeah, I think it might have been actually, because there was a one of the Automatic Knock Hill cars, wasn't it? That he bounced off the side of there. We just saw Sedgwick then getting past Rusty Laidler now, so he's up to 5th place. There's this brilliant battle coming down the straight then, headed by Scott Malcolm with Paul Smith side by side into Hell Corner. Kip Stevens behind them, then Chris Wood, and then Stuart McFadden. Paul putting it nicely down the inside then. Although, it's a repeat of race 1.
Oh,
just washed out wide a little bit, didn't he? And then as you come back on, I know that curb can pull you out quite wide in a front-wheel drive car like this, and it is easy to sort of overcorrect it, and you do find yourself turning left into people. So might have been 6 of one, half a dozen the other, but it's Chris Wood now who's benefited from it, going past Kip Stevens to get a bit closer to the right-hander. Kip carrying the momentum around the outside there. We've been saying that it works like that. Really, really on the ragged edge here now as McFadden tries to get a little whatever sort of slipstream he can get from Paul. Around the outside of Woods in the wall. Smith nearly follows him in, but Woods still manages to keep the place, and Paul is now attacking Stevens. Great stuff.
God, we very nearly had a Marcus Ambrose incident on our hands there, going through up to the top of the hill. And Kip Stevens, you could hear him putting the foot on the accelerator going through the right-hander on the outside. Problem here for Scott Malcolm. And I hear crashing. It's Chris Wood. He's dropping down. I think he's obviously hit the outside wall at McPhillamy Park, and that might have broken something on the right front. He's going to have to try and get it back to the pits from the top of the circuit.
Yeah, it's not behaving itself. You can see him being a little bit hesitant with the steering lock. Oh, good save there by Chris. Real shame for him that, because he was doing well in gaining places. Now he's back to where he started, and you've got to think that he might pit it. So it depends whether he's got the infamous meatball flag or not. I think that Malcolm might have been damaged from hitting the wall at Hull Corner after that incident with Paul Smith there. Sorry, as he is still dropping places. Jake Blackwell has popped into the chat and said this track is his curse. Unfortunately, at his home event, like we say, it's not proved to provide him with many championship points tonight. As you can see there, Scott Malcolm unfortunately really struggling. He was quite high up in the AM standings as well in this race, but doesn't always go your way, I suppose, and little incidents like that can be the they can be the sort of swinging point between finishing a race and getting points and not. Oh, that was Williams there, Craig Williams going and getting about 100% style points around there. That was fantastic stuff. But if you want to score by that, as we said at Brands, you have to jump onto Forza, my friend.
Overtake on the grass right there. Something you would see in the on the new Forza Horizon 4 game. I think we're on iRacing Live tonight, so we'll probably keep stum on that one as lap 6 of 10. Oh, the inside comes the Apex Racing car. That's car 3, so that must be
Simmons, I think.
Yes, car 3 is George Simmons, you're right. The Apex Racing car in 23rd place. Fantastic scrap going on here. The gaps are so close throughout the entire field, it's hard what battle to focus on, but some big names here. We've got Savinovich, Thompson, McIntyre, Simmons, Hadfield and Newman as well. Michael Blake also just joining the back of that group as well. So we've got great scrap going on here as we go into the second half of the race now, lap 6 of 10. And Will Daniels and Nathan Davis are also swapping positions. They're just a bit further up the road. Here they are. Davis just about shutting out Will Daniels there, who got offline. And now this opens up the door and opens up an opportunity for Mark Woodhouse here going through McPhillamy Park. This is where his teammate Chris Wood crashed, and it's exactly the same. Oh,
I don't know how they got away with that though, but the one that didn't get away with that is Daniels, and that's a very, very bent car right now. Woodhouse really got lucky there. He's obviously trying to stay out I can't get my words out. He's trying to stay out of as much trouble as he can, obviously with his AM Championship on the line, but it's really, look at that's a beautiful shot from all going down there, but Daniels is just about controlling that car. Again, it's down to whether he's got a meatball flag or not. It was definitely crabbing a little bit, and we'll sure see that down the straight now.
I think we cut away from George Simmons, and then about 2 seconds later he's crashed because he's now jumped to the pits. So George Simmons, who was running in the 23rd place in the Apex Racing cars, now has to jump back to the pits. Here's a replay. This is going up the hill. It might be something similar to what we saw in the Sim Racing Expo event. Oh, he hits that inside wall.
Oh, that's a big one. Hadfield involved in that as well. Not sure whether Adam actually saved that. I didn't hear any further contact, so he's still up there. So yeah, he must have saved that. Great stuff by Hadfield there, showing great car control. As we see Baxter and Rob Graham then into the final corner. Baxter on the outside showing us that, yep, I was going to say it works, and it nearly didn't. Really, really sketchy stuff there, as that's Nathan Davis getting the opportunistic move done. Well, he slots back in now, and he stays in 12th place.
Goodness me, that was very close. Here's Jamie Rushworth, former champion of the BSRTC, going out with, or having it out with Will Daniels, going through the first corner. This is over 15th and 16th. They've just got Brian Holmes up the road in 14th place there, lap 7 of 10. So we get to the line, there's going to be 3 laps to go. And the CQR car with the power that it has going around the outside, and just behind, that's Dave Baker getting past, or trying to get past, Will Daniels, who looks like he hasn't picked up too much damage he hit the wall square on going through Fenway Park, and you'd think that'd be it, but these Kia Optimas, they proved they've made a strong stuff here, and oh, well, he nearly runs into the wall again there, and he's able to soldier on, and is still inside the top 20.
Yeah, he's doing a good job of controlling that thing. You can see it's twitching around a little bit. It's not behaving itself, but unlike most touring cars, these Kias don't seem to have suspension made of cracker bread like the NGTC cars do these days. All you have to do is put 2 wheels together, and that's the end of it. We saw it happen to Turkington at the end of 2017, but these guys are really rushing that wall. You can tell that he's right on the edge though, Daniels, because he's still running it right out to the edge of the track, and it's just twitching around that little bit. But as we were saying before, it's easy to unsettle this car. You have to properly wrestle it, don't you? And I bet he's wrestling that steering for his life now, and I bet it's quite amusing for Pete Harrod. He's probably used to watching people do this from all of his drifting days.
Yeah, he is. I remember something happening to Andrew Jordan at Brands a few years ago. I think it was the year he won the title, where he ended up breaking the right rear suspension on what was quite an innocuous incident. Can't get the words out. Here we go. This is Pete Harrod. Obviously, I think the damage to Will Daniels has hurt him in a straight line, and he's going to pay for that, because here comes Pete Harrod swooping around the outside of the chase, just about gets it stopped. These Kias do love to understeer, and I think there'd be nothing worse than understeering into that gravel trap. It'd be shades of Fabian Coulthard at Bathurst a few years ago. Probably a few years ago, probably over 10 years ago now, in that big crash in the V8 Supercar race, which takes place this weekend. But Harrod through, up into 17th place. Now here's the battle further up between Steve Baxter and Kip Stevens. Baxter relegates Kip down to 10th.
Yeah, nice and simple move there. Kip's just in it for points at this point, it seems. Not to say the same word twice in a sentence, but he's driving nice and clean at the moment, it's Kip, and you can see he's backing off there. He's not even trying to make the move, really. He's just going to be playing it safe, but still inside the top 10 is going to be a nice haul of points for them. He's got Chris Wood, Nathan Davis and Rob Graham behind him, but not too close. Well, Chris Wood is actually within 2/10 now. I didn't quite see that, so I apologise for my bad eyesight. Chris is definitely going to be putting him under pressure to get into the top 10 though. Oh wow, down the inside. Talking about putting the pressure, Davis is definitely doing that. They don't quarter panel there. Really respectful stuff on the exit of the cutting. Side by side then. Are they going to compromise each other's lines up here? Of course they are. Look at them go.
Oh my word.
Really washes out into the wall. That's great racing. Fantastic stuff by Davis to get the move done. And really respectful driving there by Chris Wood as always. Oh, really nearly getting into the wall there. Both the Apex cars. Chris is drifting that thing around. Look at him go. This is right on the edge stuff. You don't see this across most of the iRacing service, do you? This is just, this is what you're meant to get excited about.
Yeah, you don't see this in the World Championship Grand Prix series, I don't think. Obviously different cars, and we've seen World Championship drivers give this series a go and leave after a week because they can't handle it. So these guys are something else. And now heading down the mountain again onto the Conrod Straight, Chris Wood and Nathan Davis doing a fantastic play there. Davis, credit to him, the car is very clean by his standards. I'm sure he'll agree on that. And just further up the road, I think Stephen Baxter trying to get past Paul Smith. In fact, he is about to get past Paul Smith going through the chase. Smith is going to try and give it his all, but that Northern Lights Racing GT Omega car is just too quick, and Baxter is up into 8th place now. 9 positions gained for the championship contender. This is Nathan Davis. It's not over, and he has to push Jamie Rushworth onto the. Sorry, it's Brian Holmes, I should say. He's battling out with Jamie Rushworth for 14th and 15th.
Yeah, Mark Woodhouse is behind there watching this, although he has to take avoiding action there as they all sort of check up into there. Pete Harrod now into 17th place is going to be following Mark and thinking he's got to get the move done sooner rather than later. Like I say again, Mark's going to be just thinking of the championship at this stage. We're getting very close to the end of it now as Baker there ahead of Thompson. Thompson replacing Ash Sutton for this round after his triumph in the final round of the British Touring Car Championship, and Josh is now under pressure in the World GT Championship as well to try and do a bit of damage limitation on Nickel Foggy in that series. It's going to be a brilliant final round if you watch that next Monday. That's also on Apex Racing TV. Savidovic trying to get involved in this though as well. Obviously it's 2 CQR cars against the Apex car now, so once again team tactics and communication might come into the play, but I'm sure that won't offset Watch.
Not now, going up the hill. We go to Suzuka next week, then we have a week off. And the showdown begins in earnest. Oh, McIntyre hits the wall there. Clips it. Very lucky the car didn't spit him out. Remember something happening to Jamie Rushworth there back in season 5, and it cost him the title. just trying to find the calendar for you. We'll look at that at the end because we've got 1.5 laps to go. And Thompson here in 19th place, gained eight positions. Savidovic there as well, gaining 9. It's all about getting a good race 2 underneath you, and then you'll be in with a shout of maybe getting a top 5 or maybe even a podium in the final race of the day. Here's the battle for the lead then, or maybe I should just say it's the front 2. Diogo Melra has been closer to Ross McFarlane, but the gap right now is about a second. He has been off a few times, but the BSR World Series, I should just say the Club Series 2-time champion is doing an all right job. As here's Michael Hall versus Christian Rose, both driving for CQR. 2 different teams though, CQR Academy, and this is the battle over 4th place with just 1 lap to go.
Yeah, it's been quite a clean one for these boys so far. Neither of them got any incident points, they'll be happy with that. They've got their teammate Russell Laidler in 6th, and then Stuart McFadden's just made his way past Paul Smith into 8th. As they're side by side over the line, then in there is Davis and Stevens as well. Paul going to be on the attack, nearly makes contact, but around the outside then. Davis again making a great move. And he's probably going to get that done actually against McFadden, because he's going to be on the inside next time round. And they're going to be trying to chase down Stephen Baxter ahead, but I don't think they'll catch him before the race is done.
What happens then? Kip Stevens and Paul Smith have been at it all race. They know each other pretty well. Stuart McFadden versus Nathan Davis as well. Davis through into 8th place, so that's happened recently. That's 8 positions gained for Davis, 10 for Baxter. Here comes Stevens up the inside of Smith. Looks like Paul may have just got out of it. He's going to try and carry it around the outside actually. Nothing Kip can do because Paul's there, but the ProSim car, the Vortex Raceflow car was able to just about pull ahead, and now Paul is going to be right after him down the hill. This is a spot in the top 10 up for grabs. Paul Smith, the 2nd highest AM driver right now. Overtaking Kip's not going to change that, but bottom of the top 10 may be worth its weight in gold when it comes to those bonus points that get you in the showdown. We'll wait and see as we fly down the hill again one last time.
Yeah, he's got his teammate Chris Wood behind him as well now, so I think the threat is pretty much over for Paul. He's still going to be happy with an 11th place, so surely as we look at McFadden now all over the back of Nathan Davis, is he going to get this done down the Conrad Straight then? It's the final lap, so Nathan's not going to get a chance to return the favour here. You've got to think that McFadden's going to be the favourable car, but it depends what he can get done on the brakes. As we look now at Ross McFarlane, Melrose off. Melrose is off, and that's going to give 2nd place surely to Sedgwick. There he goes. Real shame, but Ross McFarlane giving it style points over the line. Great win by Ross there, nicely controlled race. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, fantastic drive by Ross McFarlane. Jack Sedgwick nicks 2nd place on the line. Diogo Melra finishes in 3rd place. What about that scrap behind then? Nathan Davis versus Stuart McFadden. There's the battle for 4th. In the end, it was Michael Hall ahead of Christian Rose. It's going to be Nathan Davis ahead of Stuart McFadden. Ryan Holmes off the circuit, but he will cross the line and take what will be 13th. Very close there between one of the Automet cars, Rob Graham that was, who finishes just behind him in 14th. Savidovic was just 1/10 behind JT, Josh Thompson, on the run to the line. So 19th and 20th places for those two. Championship leader Nicole Foggy finishes in 25th. And if we get a small reverse grid for the final race, what could be a little bit of a write-off of a race meeting for him could become very important, because he would then have a shout at winning the race.
We look at Diogo Melro now. Is he going to dip a wheel onto the grass? Not quite. Or is he just going to? Oh, that's a real shame for him, and it's going to whip back round. He did a really good job, to be fair, of not completely spinning that, but yeah, just a little bit hot into the chicane, and that's cost him 2nd place in the race there. But as you were saying about Nickel Foggy, I'm sure he'll be happy to obviously get a decent reverse grid, because he's not had a great evening so far. Diogo's just popped up in the chat and said he's actually spent half of the race trying to connect a micro USB into his headphones because the battery was dying. So fair effort to still finish 3rd after doing that, Diogo. That just shows the sort of skill level he's at, and obviously why he won the Club Series twice.
Wireless headphones, yeah. Just when you need them, they do that. But credit to Nicole Foggy as well. He starts on the pit lane too, so to be handed with a 30-second, the rest of the field having a 30-second head start or so, that's quite an achievement to get up to 25th. Got the showdown ready for you as well, as everybody has now crossed the line. We go to Road America first in the showdown, then we go to the Glen, the Classic, then we go to Interlagos, Monza without the first chicane, and then Daytona to end the season. So what a showdown that looks set to be. Here are the results though. Ross McFarlane wins. I will quickly tell you in terms of victories how much that is for him. That's his second win of the season. So well done to Ross for that one. In fact, it's his first victory since, as he scrolls along the stat sheet, it's his first victory of the season since mid-Ohio, back in the height of summer. So well done to him. Jack Sedgwick gets a podium, which is what he probably should have got in race 1. So what goes around comes around, really. Diogo Melro finishes in 3rd in the end. It could very well have been 2nd. Michael Hall finishes in 4th. Christian Rose 5th. His teammate Rusty Laidler finishing in 6th, and Steve Baxter 7th. Nathan Davis getting to the end in 8th. Stuart McFadden 9th, and Kip Stevens finishing just ahead of Paul Smith after that overtake on the final lap. Chris Wood in 12th. Brian Holmes in 13th. Robert Graham in 14th. Jamie Rushworth, season 4 champion, finishing in 15th. Then Mark Woodhouse 16th. Then Pete Howard and Dave Baker rounding out the top 18. Moving on back, 19th place Josh Thompson ahead of the reigning champion Wojciech Savidovic. Then Jack McIntyre in 21st. Pete Newman finishing in 22nd in the CQR Academy car. Then the two Immortal teammates, Adam Hadfield and Michael Blake, 23rd and 24th. Nico Foggy started from the pit lane, managed to finish 25th in the end, with his Northern Lights Racing colleagues Martin Front and Will Daniels finishing in 26th and 27th. Daniels took a hefty whack to the side of the car at McPhillamy Park, so credit to him for getting to the end there with a hefty straight line speed disadvantage. Tristan Bodis finishing in 28th. Hannah McNally, who was off at the chase early on, finishing in 29th, then Tyler Lugo Vickery in 30th. Colin Cunniff managed to get to the end of this one, but it was in 31st place. Could be important when it comes to the reverse grid. We'll wait and see on that one. Max Wright 32nd, Lee Deemer 33rd. Alex Simpson started from the pit lane and had a crash early on, I believe. Or he might have started and things might not have gone at all well. Either way, he finishes 34th, 1 lap down. That's not going to help him unless we get a number for the reverse grid. We get a full -2, it'll be Deemer on the pole. And then the cars have picked up 0 points. Craig Williams, George Simmons out very early on. Scott Malcolm having a hefty whack. Same for Jake Blackhall. Sven Glatzel had a crash at Skyline, while Mark Johnston and Dan Brown were out on the opening lap.
Another busy race then. Lots of position changing and, well, quite a few smaller incidents. Nothing so major in that one, but it's going to be quite an interesting shout for Alex, actually, because he's the only car to lap down, so if we do get a large grid, then he may get pole position here. But like we were saying before, Nickel Foggy 25th, he's got to be in with a shout of doing well in this final one as well. Just depends on what we get, and I believe Samuli will have the wheel anytime now.
Yes, I do, Jazz, and well, there is opportunity for 50 car reverse grid, and that would give Alex the pole, but we'll see. You know what, he is gonna hate me, but it is full -1.
Oh, just missing out then, Alex Simpson. That puts Lee Deemer on pole position with Max Wright, Colin Cunniff, Tyler Lugo Vickery, and Adam McNally 5th.
Great, well, thanks very much, Chaz, and we've got the final race still to come then. And I wonder how important this race could be in terms of shaping many of these drivers' destinies for the showdown. Results here could very well lock you in the showdown, so I'm sure the drivers will be having that in the back of their minds, and we'll see what happens when we come back after this break, the third and final race of the day in the BSRTC at Mount Panorama in Bathurst.
Hi there, I'm Richard Jobling, Senior Software Engineer here at iRacing. I'd like to show you some of the work that we've been doing to improve the collision and the damage in our sim. One of the major changes we've made is how our collision systems work. The old system stored the track as parametric surfaces, and the cars were made of collections of spheres. As the cars moved around the track, we would recompute planes using the track surfaces, and then test those against the spheres. This worked well for spheres, but was too specialized to adapt to our shapes. So for the new system, we've built new high-resolution meshes for each track. This is more efficient and gives us a lot more flexibility for the car shapes. The new mesh incorporates all the track features our guys worked so hard to replicate. things like curb geometry and changes in the surface material, are all baked into the mesh. We've also taken our laser scan data and applied that to the mesh. And since the mesh is so high resolution, we capture all the detail that's necessary so that the tracks are just like the real thing. With our new mesh, we can now represent cars using smooth, convex hulls, which grouped together form the chassis, the bodywork, and all the other parts of the car. The new shapes are a much closer fit to the shape of the real car. During impacts, the shapes can deform according to the damage, and eventually they can break off as separate objects. All the parts, like wings, hoods, and wheels, can also hang from their joints, flapping and vibrating until they eventually snap off. All these changes are going to add a whole new level of realism to our races. If you want to find out more, please visit iRacing.com and check out my blog post for lots more details.
Hi, my name is Greg Hill. I'm the Vice President of Art and Production here at iRacing. This damage project that we've been discussing is certainly a project that involved all hands on deck to pull off. We've got a rather sizable number of cars in our portfolio, and not all of these cars have been built with this dynamic damage system in mind. So what we had to do is one by one go through our race cars, and we had a team of 3 artists, a highly technical modeler, our technical art director, and our associate art director. All took on each car one at a time, and the work involved was researching that car, researching what would happen to that car if it were in a crash, depending on the forces involved in the crash, how severely it would be damaged, what parts might come off, what those pieces might look like when they're removed, what it would look like where the car has areas exposed that were previously covered by bodywork. So they had to do a lot of modeling to each race car, and they had to do a lot of work to essentially set up how the car would react to forces. So essentially setting the strength of the materials. What kind of force would it take to rip off this side pod, for example? Or under what circumstances would this nose cone get ripped off of a car? Or under which would it remain, but just be badly damaged? But all said, it's been a lot of work, but seeing the car models interact with the physics system and the new crash dynamics is really exciting and really cool to see, and definitely makes all that hard work worth it.
Hi, my name is Jose Diaz. I'm a visual effects artist at iRacing. I specialize in particle effects ranging from fireworks to water fountains, debris, crash, impacts, all in the service of improving the driving experience. So you have the main sort of new damage model that Richard's been working on. So that takes into consideration all the mounts and the chassis from the cars and which materials they are. And he's making all the calculations that tell you, like, okay, it got hit from this one side and the strength of that impact is this certain amount of values. If you hit something, that means that this mount gets off, something breaks. This gets added on top of that to sort of complement what is happening there with things that you would see in real life when a car crashes. So typically in a car crash, you will see all these little particles of dust, metal, scratches that will take all that force and momentum and kind of explode in a way. And it's all being driven by how fast the car was coming, how hard the impact was against what. That will give you that sense of like, man, that person really crashed hard, or oh, it was just a small bump.
Hi, my name is Chris Lurch. I'm one of the vehicle dynamicists here at iRacing. Our role on the collision project is to tune the collision properties of each and every car to ensure that they behave and wrecks as a real car would. And we've spent quite a bit of time going through literature from the automotive industry on the subject to make sure that we have panels that deform the way they're supposed to, both temporarily and permanently, that pieces that don't deform but rather just break at appropriate times in appropriate ways. The cars are absorbing energy the way they should and aren't sort of bouncing off the walls in crazy ways. The major properties that we look at are stiffnesses, which is how much a piece of the car deforms when a load is applied to it. And then we look at a couple of limits. One is the force limit beyond which the piece deforms permanently. And then the second limit that we look at is the brake limit, the force limit beyond which the piece will simply break. And then we also will look at damping, which is how much the piece absorbs energy versus how much it takes like a spring and can absorb as potential energy and then rebound back out like a basketball would.
Yeah, you see a lot of Mercedes, 3 BMWs and 2 Ferraris as the cars are getting to the start-finish line, to the last corner, aptly named, and we begin race 1 of the showdown here in Okayama with Michael Evdoka, McFadden and Danes already jumping one spot in 3rd position. Little bit of tire squeal, maybe a bit too much. Evdoka is around and he's hit by, I think that was I think it was Dimmer that hit Evdoka there, and so already Sam, some troubles for the championship leader. Because the Ferraris are in a breakaway.
Yeah, just quickly trying to see what actually happened. Did he just lose it on his own, or... Yeah, just too fast into turn 1, slides it. And yeah, that was Jamie Ayres with that green Mercedes.
As Evdoka is in the pits, and I think that is a game over for him, not only for this race 1, but also, and as Ayres goes into the pits, so damn big damage for him as well. Danes is trying to line up a move on McFadden, but the black, I would say the black Ferrari, the CQR Ferrari is a bit far away, but he makes a mistake, and Danes gets the position, and we have a new leader already, lap 2, and we have the first pass for position as McFadden is trying to gather up himself and maybe go for a move there as Danes completely misses the braking there at the hairpin, and once again he's sideways and McFadden takes the lead. And he's going for it. That was a very, very brave move, but I think it's working, even though Malcolm will have the inside in the revolver corner. And he's able to keep their position so far. Now the run to the hairpin, the other hairpin, first, the one on the left hand. Cullinan on the inside, Malcolm on the outside. And now once again, he will have the inside, Scott Malcolm, but this time is the Irish driver that is able to complete the move.
And what has happened to the front? It just suddenly gotten really close.
Absolutely super close, 0.1 of a second. Blocking on the inside is McFadden. Danes looking inside and outside at the hairpin, and McFadden is able to defend, so maybe a mistake, but you see he's pushing extremely hard. Danes is bumper to bumper with McFadden. Good run there by McFadden and coming out of the right-hander, the long and uphill right-hander that brings us to the hairpin, but now with the slipstream he has to defend on the inside. Great dive there by McFadden. Can he hold the car? He can't, and McFadden stays in first position and a touch! And McFadden is around in the gravel. But Danes is far, far away in the distance. Let's see a replay. Another crisscross moment here, left, right. And slightest of touches, front right with left rear sent. Oh, and Danes is waiting, I think, for McFadden. He is, and he's given the position back. A fantastic show of sportsmanship here at Okayama in the showdown. McFadden, unless anything surprising happens, is going to be your race 1 winner. Nice dive there by Danes. Now we will have the inside. Little contact once again. They both stop. They both come to a halt. But in the end, it's McFadden with the race win in Okayama for the first round of the showdown, and Danes is in second with a fantastic battle. So once again, 20-minute race, no pit stops, pace car is in, and we are racing in Okayama for race 2 of this first round of the showdown, as Jamie Ayres has the lead. Underhill is in second, and Hardy, Jacobson, Robinson this first corner, very, very dangerous. We've seen in race 1 with Evdoka going sideways and destroying his race. Everybody seems to be behaving.
And he really needs to get a move on if he wants to fight for the position, as that is McFadden going on the inside, collides with Evdoka, and they crash.
And you know, I say it all the time. Oh, look at that, 3 wide.
No, that
and
is a
there's
bad
a car
idea.
in the fence. Yeah, the car in the fence there, it's Robinson.
Yeah, I don't blame it. There's so much action going on that it is really difficult to keep up with who is going. And here comes this Stains on the lead Deemer.
Yeah, as
Makes the pass
McFadden is
into turn
coming. Josh Thompson on his inside there. Coming to the hairpin, hard on the brakes. Thompson makes the move.
Oh, and that is very close with Chris Danes and Karhari.
Yeah, Danes was sideways in the previous corners, then he hit a little bit Hardy in the back. This of course gives Thompson the chance of having a good run. They are side by side going into the first corner. As McFadden is back into the pits, no reason to continue for him. He will start last in race 3. As there's a huge train of cars. Danes move to the inside. Thompson moves to the outside. They are not 3 wide, almost 3 wide. The Ferrari is in P2. But
yeah,
here comes Underhill once again. Ooh. I think he was a bit sideways, and yeah, he lost a bit of time there, and many positions lost by Underhill after that mistake. I think his aim is to get the best possible exit out of the final corner. Maybe go for a move on the inside. Danes is defending very, very well. The Ferrari is extremely wide. But now a bad exit from the last corner gives Josh Thompson the position, maybe even a slowdown for Danes side by side. But once again, Danes will have the inside, and this will advantage Evdoka, of course, as he's pushed a bit wide there. Now he has the inside at the Revolver, and he's able to make the move side by side there. Can he make it stick? Little bit of a bump there. All done in good spirits, good hard racing. Michael Evdoka working hard for the pass. Danes puts his nose in. Once again, side by side, a little more contact as well for good measure. But in the end, it's Michael Evdoka completing the pass. Sam, it took like half a lap for Evdoka to make this move, but it was worth it in the end. As this time is truly time for celebration for Jamie Ayres, as the Welsh flags are in the air here in Okayama for the number 46 driver Mercedes. Great race win from Jamie Ayres.
Yeah, Jamie Ayres gets a good run here. Clean away there, followed by Josh Thompson, but then we have good battle with Michael Evdoka and Chris Danes for the 3rd place. Chris Danes is currently in the lead, and also Josh Thompson looking at the inside of Jamie Ayres, who takes the inside line. Oh, and that is contact
well,
between Chris Danes
yeah.
and Josh Thompson.
Little bit of contact, but Thompson takes the lead. Ayers in second place, Evdoka is in third, and Danes is in fourth position.
Just
Let's
taking a look
catch.
at what happened. We missed this on the screen. Oh, hard hit with Cullinan, I believe, yes.
Yeah. With the amount of fuel you put in Evdoka on the inside of Ayers. Once again at the hairpin. Side-by-side contact. Shoulder barge there by Evdoka. It works and he's up to P2. Scott Malcolm's fuel strategy looks to be a bit more risky as Danes goes sideways at Revolver and he's in the gravel. This is going to cost him some time. He gets back on the track. He loses one position to Anthony Jacobson. But most importantly, he loses Jamie Ayers and he was looking very good there.
6 seconds, 7 seconds, 8 seconds, 9 seconds. Oh, that is a long pit stop. Did he accidentally... 12 seconds. Yeah, that is way too much more, I believe.
Yeah.
And now he is going to end up behind the Malcolm, Cullinan and Beamer.
Here comes the Malcolm train, and yes, Robinson has to slot in behind them. As we have a massive battle for P6, Malcolm is keeping a lot of guys behind him, and he has been doing so for a lot of laps. Maybe Cullinan has had enough as he's trying for a move on the outside into the right-hander that brings us to the backstretch, and the Irishman is around him, but now better exit from Malcolm. They're going to be side by side on the back straightaway.
Yeah, Malcolm's car has definitely been the extra wide version for these past few laps. Let's see if Cullinan can give it on the outside line and take the position, and so far it looks good for Cullinan. Cullinan takes the 6th place. Malcolm drops down to 7th, and that is Deemer hungry for that position right behind him.
And you see on the live track map, the number 2 on the right side is Josh Thompson coming into the last corner. Evdoka, super quick stop, 6 seconds, coming out of the pits. It's going to be a drag race, and I think Michael Evdoka will be in the lead. So good strategy call by Michael Evdoka. Very short stop, only 6 seconds. Evdoka with a good strategy in the end. If he can hold on, he must be running on fumes, but he's keeping the lead of 2.5 seconds over Josh Thompson into the final corner. Michael Evdoka will not run out of fuel and will win this 3rd race of the evening, with Josh Thompson finishing second. So the overcut worked for Michael Evdoka, and that's a great win and a great comeback overall after a terrible race 1.
I don't think he was fuel saving as much as it made out to be. I think here there's a big difference in each car's strong points. I think it's like the BMW is really good in the last sector with the tight hairpins, but the Mercedes in the actual grunt was so much better in the first sector. So it just backed and forward quite a lot. I'll speak to Michael after. So yeah, and then I think I've obviously I've not even done a pen trip this track since I first ever started on iRacing here. So I came in, I didn't know where it was. There was 2 sets of cones, and I think Michael got away going to the second cones, whereas I panicked and braked at the first cones. So my fault really in a way, but I can't really complain.
Don't miss the rest of the broadcast that we are going to have here on Apex Racing TV for the rest of the week. Until then, for Sam Kumo, I am Marco Barbanera, and we will catch you very soon on Apex Racing TV.
and Michael Tucker will be free to put down his foot whenever he feels like it. And we can now see them roaring through the final corner. And here we go. Race 1 of the evening is underway. Michael.
We're back at Bathurst for the final race of the day in the BSRTC, the British Sim Racers Touring Car Championship. After today's race, there's just going to be 1 week to go until the showdown starts. And again, we'll tell you those dates. We start off the showdown on the 25th of October at Road America. Then we go to Watkins Glen on the 1st of November, Interlagos on the 8th, and Monza No First Chicane on the 15th, and we end the season on the 22nd of November at Daytona under the lights. So that's going to be pretty good. Here's the starting grid for tonight, though. For the final race of the day, Adam Bath and Charles Drake are with you yet again for what is set to be another good race. It's not Jack McIntyre on the pole, actually. It is Lee Deemer on the pole, then it's Max Wright second, then Colin Cunniff, Tyler Lugo Vickery, Adam McNally 5th, 6th Tristan Bodice, 7th Will Daniels, 8th Martin Front, 9th Nicole Foggy, and 10th Michael Blake. And if you weren't paying attention, the whole grid has just flashed up on the screen right there. Here we go then. This should be good.
Got to think Nickel Foggy can get something done from 9th on the grid as well. He's got his teammate Martin Front ahead of him. He'll probably help him out as the lights are about to come on.
Here we go then. Away we go then for the final time tonight. Not the best start in the world by Lee Deemer. He's going to be taken over immediately by Max Wright going into the first corner. Colin Cunniff may get second also. That's all he gets. And that's not going to go well, surely. Cunniff just about misses the outside of the wall. And he's back onto the track again. Everybody else skating all over the place. An Apex car using part of the pit lane exit to avoid everybody. But for now, it's Max Wright leading. Deemer second, third Cunniff. Then it's McNally, Bodice, Daniels, Front, Foggy, Lugo, Vickery, and Blake as we go into turn 2, Chaz.
Yeah, just a little note there about Nathan Davis actually going in towards the pit lane. He actually went that far over that it actually counted that he was in the pits for a second and a half on the timing screen. So really taking some evasive action for some reason there. Oh, clipping the wall, that's Lugo Vickery. He might even hit the wall again there through the cutting, and he has done. And just going past him there is Wojciech Savinovic already up to 11th. There was issues in the background there. Kip Stevens going down the order, Diogo Melro. Yeah, there is a traffic jam. Oh, there's even a mess as they come through it as well. That's Daniel Brown. I think Sven Glatzel's involved in that. He is. Brian Holmes, Christian Rose is there as well. I wished him luck in between races. And yeah, that's commentator's curse there, unfortunately, for Christian Rose. But there's quite a few guys taken out by that. I think Scott Malcolm's involved in it as well, is he? Dan Brown was definitely held up as well. As we see there, Max Wright leading from Lee Deemer. Colin Cunniff is the highest placed pro driver. Actually, 5 cars in the top 6 are Ram drivers. Oh, sideways. Unbelievable. We've seen some people chucking it in hard there tonight, but that's one of the best moments we've caught through there as they come onto the Conrad Straight once again.
Yeah, he's going to be a bit of a disadvantage here, Max Wright. Lee Deemer's going to try and get this lead back that he lost at the start with the wheel spin. This Immortal car's going to try and get past the Automet car. Let's hope this is good. 2 AMs going at it. They emerge from behind the trees through the chase. Cunniff's off. He's back on again and up the inside on the brakes. And Max Wright, who was in the lead, has gone down to 3rd place.
And Lee has just become lead Deemer. He's redeemed his position.
There we go.
Now, well, he's redeemed his first lap, let's say, by losing places. I'm not quite on the pun game like you are, Adam. You're a lot better than me at this. He runs a bit wide about the final corner, and that's got to open it up to Cunniff now. He's going to get a little bit of a slipstream down the straight, and he's just going to try and get it done on the brakes down into Hell Corner. Not quite. Lee coming really defensive there. And they're just backing up behind him now is McNally down the inside of Wright. Great opportunistic move, and he's up to 3rd.
How did Deemer make that first corner? I thought he was on the inside. He was going to surely skate wide, but he's been able to hold on to it. Lee Deemer's yet to redeem a race victory. He hasn't even been on the podium this season in the BSRTC, so we're hoping that changes tonight. He's got to hope he keeps Cunniff back, and they touch going into turn 2. Cunniff takes evasive action. That's going to be McNally through into 2nd place. It's all going McNally's way so far. Now Max Wright fancies that final spot on the podium. We could make it 3 AM drivers in the top 3 here if we're not too careful. Cunniff up the inside though, into the cutting. This is great racing here in the early stages. We've got boosted cars in here as well. We've got Team Mad cars as well in Tristan Bodice. And they're all flying over the top of the hill. No one's hit that wall just yet in race 3. Flying down the hill, going through the left-hander here at McPhillamy Park. Everybody coming very close to that wall. Paul Smith apparently has crashed. What if there he is? He's off at the top of the hill. That's a shame. And he's going to tow back to the pits too. So that is the end of the day for Paul Smith. Down the hill we go. And all line astern, and great because the battle for the lead is showing no signs of slowing down, and it means that everybody else, Chaz, can close up and get involved in the action too.
Yeah, Lee Deemer running a bit wide there. There was compromises running to the Conrad Straight. Nickel Foggy already up 3 places and is now 6th overall. He's got Tristan Bodis in front of him, then Max Wright. So it's going to be a case of when, not if, I'm pretty sure, with those boys. He's tucked in behind him down the straight, but it's McNally behind Deemer now. I seem to have started a pun trend with. McNally then, my favourite Scotsman, down the inside. And he's going to get it done before they're even in the braking zone. He's got to just be so careful, though, that he doesn't overdo it. Cunniff nearly into the back of Deemer there. He's going to try and get a cutback, it seems. He's taking a wider line. You can see the momentum there. Brilliant stuff by Colin Cunniff, but he's going to be on the outside for the final corner. How's Lee going to defend this? He really, really leaves it in the middle of that room. Bit of contact. Still side by side, though. We've been saying the outside line works a little bit. No, not quite for Cunniff, though, because he's on the grass. Deemer keeping it hard but fair then. Great stuff from Lee, then defending his podium position.
Someone's in the pits. Rob Graham's in the pits, that's who it is. But what a fantastic scrap this is. We haven't seen too many cars in that outside tyre barrier through the final corner. Remember a big one happening there back in season 5, and this was the last race meeting of season 6, and it was a bit of a free for all there. This battle's anyone's game. This is Wojciech Savidovic versus Martin Front going into turn 2. The Immortal car's on the inside, and it's not going to help that Martin Front, sorry, it's Adam Hadfield's battling with Savidovic. It doesn't help that Martin Front went a bit wide there, and that allows Hadfield through, and now Savidovic is having to worry about Will Daniels and Northern Lights Racing. Oh, this is just Josh Thompson. Hello.
Yeah.
Oh,
nearly a quarter panel on the exit. Yeah. Oh, Daniels changing the colour of the paint on the wall there to blue from red, and he's lost a bit of momentum there actually now. And he's got Michael Blake right behind him. Not seen much of Michael tonight, but he's near the top 10. Hopefully trying to break into it come race end. You can just hear the tyres screaming blue murder as they come down there, though. They're just understeering so much, but these guys are right on the limit of adhesion, aren't they, all throughout the race?
Tell you what, we went into the Fujitsu air conditioning banner, and I think a few of these drivers could do it. Oh my word, there's a huge crash.
Well, someone's lost air conditioning there. That's
Tyler Lugo Vickery, isn't it?
It is, and he's still going. Is he going to fall down the hill? He's gone. He's absolutely gone. Real shame there for Tyler, but we'll have a look. Oh, he loses it all of his own accord, and he gets hit. That's Woodhouse. That's Mark Woodhouse that runs into him, and that's really important in the AM Championship going into the showdown. Not quite sure how it will affect him in terms of the points, but we know that he was in the battle for it. One of the other Team Mad cars got involved there as well, and in the lead then is Adam McNally Cunniff, and Deemer on the grass, getting a wobble on there. That's Tristan Bodis behind him as well. Nickel Foggy's involved in it. Around the outside goes Foggy. Beautiful move. Absolute class manoeuvre there. Bodis is going to get past Deemer as well. He's got Front trying to push his way through as well, trying to get to the front. And Deemer's going into the pits.
Oh no.
Real shame for Lee Deemer then. Not sure what's happened, whether he's wet himself or something near the front, but it was a bit of a scary moment down there. He probably needs some new pants after that one. Hadfield then pushing Daniels onto the grass, saying, go on, get out there, son, have a bit of grass tracking for the day. And they're still battling away. Oh, that was nearly a quarter panel there, wasn't it? Every time these guys get an overlap, you just sort of hold your breath for a second, don't you?
Oh, there's contact in the background there. That's the Apex kind of CQR Academy car going sideways. But yeah, two by two up the hill. There's the boosted car, it's Team Mad's Tristan Bodis against Martin Front around the outside.
Sorry, mate, it was Simmons and Laidler in the background, I believe, that made contact.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's a slow...
No, it was McFadden, sorry.
there's a slow automatic car, no worries. It's Max Wright. Up the inside goes Thompson. This is becoming his favourite overtaking spot at this rate. Goes up the inside of Savidovic. Wojciech's not going to give it to him on a plate, though. And they're going to go at it again. Wheel-to-wheel stuff going through the cutting here, over the top of the hill. And Thompson has to concede defeat for now. Savidovic remains in that 7th place. Both drivers have gained 7 places, fighting their way through the field together. And with just under half the race complete, the top 5 could be in the offing here. They smell some points. And maybe could even smell a podium. They're not too far away from Nicole Foggy in 3rd, as I hear a bit of crashing, potentially going down the hill. But it looks like everybody's okay.
Yeah, just about, but this is a really interesting train of cars now. You've got a lot of mixed talent in here now. Some of the quicker guys in the series that have made their way through. Oh no, that's Boddick's in the wall, he gets it stopped, but there's people that clip him, he's just going to keep it there. I think we got away with that just about. I'm not quite sure who it was that clipped him, didn't get a good enough look. Let's see what he did. Is he just going to bounce it off the wall or something? It's easy to do. Oh, he just loses the rear end, overcorrects it, and let's see who hits him. It was the Immortal car of Hadfield, and then that was number 5. That was
Will Daniels.
Yeah, it was Will Daniels. Yeah, he's can't see quite where he is in the order at the moment. Oh, he's in sorry, he's in one of the AM cars, isn't he? I was looking at just blue ones for some reason. His front there, losing the place to Thompson. Newman off on the grass then. That is the Fabian Coulthard route. And he's back up to speed though, so he's not coming in the pits as he loses another place to Cedric, and he neatly files in front of him there.
Battle for the lead starting to heat up. I think Adam McNally had been off the circuit, and the gap is now down to 3/4 of a second. Colin Cunniff and Nicole Foggy are coming at a fair rate of knots. Both Northern Lights Racing drivers. One drives for, both driving for the GT Omega part of the team, and they're both pro drivers too. Nicole Foggy, where the evening started off so badly for him, now it could end in a blaze of glory. He's got to get past Cunniff though, and I'm sure his colleague and compatriot isn't going to hold him back too much. Foggy is through into second place, and now is half the race chase down Adam McNally for the victory here.
Yeah, two of my favourite Scotsmen are going to be going straight at it now then, as Foggy is going to start chasing down Adam McNally. Adam doing really well this evening though. He got a decent race in race 1. He was saying it was his first top 10, so provided he keeps it clean with Nickel now, he's going to be looking at making it his 4th. His 4th? I don't know quite where I was going with that. Clearly my maths is a little bit off, but I'm sure Nichols won't be, and he'll know that there's half the race to go, and I'm pretty sure he can get a win out of this.
He's going to have to get past Adam McNally though, and there's no guarantees in the BSRTC.
Certainly isn't.
Through the S's, through the downhill section, now through the dipper, and the gap's down to 4/10 of a second already, so it's come down half a second in the space of a lap. There's the camera going through Forest Elbow, hard on the brakes, now onto the Conrod Straight. So easy to hit that wall on the outside as Colin Cunniff runs up right to the edge of it. And now we're going to build up the speed, see if Nicole Foggy can get the lead away from the Northern Lights Racing Scuderia Haggis car, driven by Adam McNally. Over the top of the hill we go. Through the chase, flat out, pretty much, and then getting on the brakes. Going to take a madman to attack from that far back, and fortunately Nicole Foggy isn't one of them. It wasn't the best chicane there by McNally, and he could open himself up to attack going into the final corner. Murray's. St. Glatzel's jumped to the pits again, so something not going at all well there for one of their Northern Lights Racing colleagues. And now onto the front straight, lap 6 of 10 now. 5 laps to go. When we get to the line, there will be 4. Through the first corner, Hell Corner, now onto the back straight. This could be Nicole Foggy's opportunity, but this is one of those corners, Chaz, isn't it, where if you're on the outside, you can power your way around and still stay ahead, so it's going to be tough.
Yeah, it definitely is. No matter who you are, it's always going to be a challenge to get past around Bathurst. It's obviously, as you can see, it's a very thin circuit. Foggy's got the real run there, but plays it safe. He's just going to probably play a bit of mind games with McNally, because he knows that Cunniff's not going to challenge him too hard with them being teammates. They're going to work together to get the points. And Nichol's probably just going to put McNally under a little bit of pressure and just see whether he can identify where he's quicker than him. Obviously by a good chunk, as you can see, definitely quicker through the cut in there. Brilliant run, and he's kept their momentum. I think McNally probably letting him have that. That's really respectful, to be fair. Shame we didn't see a tough fight for the lead, but McNally's thinking about the points just as much as Nicol is, and now we have Nicol Foggy in the race lead.
Foggy hits the front then. See if we can get a win here. He's really going for it over the top of the hill. Doesn't want to be too over adventurous. Could find himself doing a roll down the hill like Tyler Lugo Vickery did. Shades of the Top Gear Albania special with that one. Through the dipper. Foggy now hoping to...
Lugo Vickery wasn't in VR there.
Oh yeah, it's hard enough to not get motion sickness when you've got that on, but if you're doing that down the hill, I'll definitely be reaching for a bucket after that one. Now down the Conrod Straight. Battle for the lead very close. Wojciech Savinovic in the background as well is about to start his assault on 4th place Max Wright over the top of the hill. Here comes the reigning series champion, 3-time champion, 2-time champion. Won it back in season 6 and last year as well. Might actually no. I think it's a 3-time champion. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he won season 9 as well, didn't he?
Yes, won season 9. Yeah. Through the right-hander. And there we go. He's through into 4th position. Josh Thompson will be next to try and get past Max Wright. Here's a close battle though between Martin Front and Adam Hadfield. This is 7th and 8th, and they could let everybody else in on the party as well. There's Michael Blake, Jack McIntyre, Dave Baker and Jack Sedgwick as a few of the drivers set personal bests with 4 laps to go.
Yeah, slipstream helping people out, I suppose, when they've got a bit more of a run and they're further back. I mean, looking down the order, these cars are, just so you've got some sort of perspective of how quick they're going down the Conrod Straight. Some of them are hitting 170 mile an hour in the slipstream, and for a big struggle bus like the Kia Optima GTS, it's a hell of a high speed to hit. I mean, even down here they're getting about, well, some of them are getting to about 140 before they hit the brakes and turn in. McIntyre just getting it turned in nicely enough there to get ahead of Michael Blake, and he's further inside the top 10 and now sets his sights on the battling Hadfield and Front in front of him.
Very close there.
Yeah.
Fighting with danger there as we head up through the hill. So easy to understeer into that wall there in any car. Saw that in a rear-wheel drive Porsche in the Sim Racing Expo race around this circuit. It was one of the front-running cars as well, as I believe, as McIntyre, my word, running onto the curves. Little lift as they go through the left-hander there. I think Thompson's just got past Max Wright further up the road as well, so Josh Thompson up into 5th. McIntyre trying to get up into 8th place. Look at that, dancing with the wheel over the top of the hill as the car gets onto 2 wheels.
Yeah, they're just absolutely flinging it around, aren't they? I bet it's actually a really enjoyable car to drive around here. I've not had the experience of doing so, unfortunately, even though the Club Series did race here once or twice. I wasn't actually taking part in it at that point. But Baker now is going to be checking his mirrors for Sedgwick, but he's also going to be checking in front of him that he doesn't close up on Michael Blake too much down the straight. We've had confirmation as well, by the way, that Lugo Vickery wasn't wearing a VR headset, thankfully for him.
Oh, he's hit him.
Oh.
And again, nearly into the back of Dave Baker goes Jack Sedgwick there. Two of the big drivers in the championship. Looks like a problem for Martin Front. He's just lost a place to Michael Blake and is now getting closed in on by Dave Baker and Jack Sedgwick now going through the final corner. 3 laps to go, lap 8 of 10. Get to the line, there'll just be 2. Look at Martin Front all over the place. He's straight back on it after whatever happened at the chicane. Trying to get past the Immortal car into the first corner. Could set him up beautifully here. Oh, it could almost end in disaster. And now here comes Dave Baker, season 7 champion for the BSRTC. He's come close on occasion. He was Savidovic's next best challenger last season. Now he's trying to get placed back as we go over the top of the hill. Ross McFarlane, problem for him. And Baker's having to let Sedgwick through there as they all close up going into turn 2, Griffin's Bend.
Yeah, I think Dave's thinking of the championship because he's mentioned that he's not around for Suzuka, I don't think.
No.
So he's going to obviously get the most out of tonight, and I think that if he battles Sedgwick too hard, there is always the risk of incident. So he's playing the clever game there, is Dave. He's always been a sort of smart racer. We've seen him defending brilliantly in a lot of series and getting the right moves done at the right time, and he's always had the pace, hasn't he? So he is just playing the smart game. As you say, he's one of the only people to be able to challenge Wojciech at the top. And it's these sort of races that can make or break your championship, where you either finish, and I mean, as you were saying with Simmons before, you can get a lot of points for finish 30th, but if you don't finish at all, then obviously that's a big fat 0 onto your tally. As all that's around, that's Max Wright.
Oh.
And he didn't get that right, clearly. Let's have a look at what happened then. Is he just going to lose the rear as he comes down through Skyline? Could he hit the curb? Oh, that was just a tiny little bounce, and he gets clipped as well by one of the Simortal cars. Oh, real shame there for Max. That was just the tiniest little bounce that unset the car. But as we've said, they are quite stiffly set up, these things, so it's easy to do as we look now at Cunniff in 3rd place, defending from reigning series champion Wojciech Savidovic.
Yeah, Savidovic wants a podium here. Don't know if he's going to be missing Suzuka next week, but if he is, then he'll be hoping to get some podium credits here. He took a relatively comfortable opening race victory in race 1 as Sedgwick has just gone off the circuit. But he'll be hoping to get on the podium here in race 3. Sedgwick's now dropped back behind Martin Front, and Alex Simpson's crashed. That's not in the script. He was he finished 1 lap down in race 2, and the car's heavily destroyed here. Poor Alex. he's going to have to cruise back to the pits. Now, this is in the chase. He's going to try and go for a move on this Immortal car. He is. The two come together.
Oh, no. That was Johnston, I think, and yeah, Alex just comes off a lot worse there. He was saying before this evening that he doesn't like Bathurst, and I don't think this evening's going to have changed his opinion on that.
Not at all. 2 laps to go then. Here is our race leader, Nicole Foggy. He hasn't got away from Adam McNally and Colin Cunniff. I wonder if the slipstream down the Mountain Straight and Conrod Straight have really helped the Scuderia Haggis car keep up with the GT Omega car here. Either that or because they're all Northern Lights racing cars at the end of the day, they're cleverly orchestrating things at the front, but they have now got Wojciech Svidovic for company. And I reckon Svidovic might fancy his chances of maybe getting third, if not better than that, second place with 1.5 laps to go around one of the longest circuits on the calendar.
Yeah, he's got to be considering it at the end of the day. I mean, he has got a championship to think about, but I mean, let's face it, he's Wojciech Svidovic, so I'm pretty sure he'll get it done one way or another. Either that, or he's going to be giving Craig Evans a heart attack now, the manager of Northern Lights, as he watches his 3 cars. They may all be in different liveries, but they all are from the same stable, much like you see in NASCAR. But he'll want a 1, 2, 3 for his team, but I think Wojciech's going to get involved in the party now and bring an end to it as we see him closing and closing and closing on Cunniff. He's going to go out to the left, or is he? Yeah, he is going out to the left. And he's just going to quite easily get this done, isn't he?
Kind of committed to the inside. Svidovic may even get the job done by the time we get to the chase. They're trying to do a bit of side drafting there. Svidovic has gained 10 places since the start. Is this going to be
Cunniff on the grass? Oh, he just put 2 wheels on the grass there, and then he goes.
Cunniff DQ'd, potentially?
Yeah, I believe he has. Yeah, he disappeared quite quickly there. Real shame that is for Svidovic as well. Did such a great job of gaining those places, and he's got to sit and just watch them all go past. Finds a gap in it though.
That is a shame, because we were setting ourselves up for a frenetic final lap with Svidovic ready to gate crash the Northern Lights Racing Party. It does now also mean that Josh Thompson has now been promoted into 3rd place in the CQR car. He did used to drive for Boosted, so we nearly could put in the promoted pun then. But driving for CQR now, and he's up 12 positions, and he's up into the final podium position again here. This is going to be his 2nd of the evening, I think, if he stays there.
Yeah, it'll be good for Josh to get a big haul of points there. If you see on the left graphic though, well, it's just gone away, sorry. The one person that stands out there, you've got to look at 6th place, Jack Sedgwick, up 26 positions. And Jake Blackwell, despite his Australian ping, has got up 18 places as well to 19th place. But what a drive by Jack Sedgwick so far tonight. He's shown even in the first race, obviously, before his incident, that he's got the pace and he's got the commitment to get moves done. And this has just been an amazing drive by him. This is just, well, he's an apex driver, what can I say? Now, we're not allowed to be biased. He's doing great anyway. No matter who he is, 26 places, you've got to say. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Especially around here.
Definitely, yeah. 6th place for him. He's been pretty good tonight. And Jake Blackwell as well, you were mentioning. He's managed to upload himself to the front to good places there. He did have a big crashing race too. Oh my word, we were talking about Sedgwick, and very nearly put it in that wall.
I can't cope with that if he keeps doing that around there. Thank God it's the last lap.
Half a lap to go then. Nicole Foggy set to take victory here unless anything goes too wrong. David Baker's trying to get a 8th place finish here. He's right on the back of Michael Blake, about 0.4 of a second between them, and he might just be about to run out of time. Here though is Nicole Foggy, started 9th on the grid. Car 9 is in the 1st position as he heads through the final corner now. Set to take, the championship leader is set to take his not first win of the season, ignore that. He's set to take his 4th win of the season. And how important could this be in terms of the podium credits when the showdown begins? Through the final corner, he gets it done. Nicole Foggy wins race 3. 2nd for Adam McNally. It's a 1-2 for Northern Lights Racing. And Josh Thompson's going to finish in 3rd. Dave Baker, he's got past Michael Blake. Is he going to get passed by another car? He is. Pete Harrod with a dive bomb there at the very end. And I think the CQR Academy car may have got past him as well. So Blake drops from, I think, 8th down to 11th by the time we got to the checkered flag there.
Yeah, I was actually stood in one of the AMD British touring car garages with Michael Blake and David Baker on the weekend, and I'm pretty sure how the conversation would have gone down after that. But Michael Blake, they would still be happy with that result, just outside the top 10. Newman taking advantage of the line there, but brilliant battling even towards the end of the race. But there's your race winner then, Nicole Foggy. He was saying ahead of tonight that he wasn't thinking this is going to go well, but a reverse grid, fortunate for him, and I'm sure he'll show his pleasure at that later on when we inevitably have a chat. But Got to give a shout to Adam McNally as well there, highest placed AM driver. Second place is a brilliant result for him. He was saying earlier on that it was obviously his first top 10 finish, and you can see he's obviously delighted about it, so I'm sure we'll hear his Scottish ramblings quite soon.
Yeah, Nico Foggy, he's just heading through he was just heading through Griffin's Bend there. Loads of pedigree branding, and it looks set to be a dog's dinner of an evening for him. But it worked out okay in the end. And as he goes through, as they head back to the pits now, through the chase, his showdown chances have taken another big boost, because not too many drivers in the top 10 have won more than 3 races this season. Savidovic has won 10, Baker's won 5, that's Foggy's 4th, so he's the 3rd winningest driver in the top 10 now, so he looks set to get the showdown underway just behind those 2 in the championship, so we'll look forward to that one. Everybody has crossed the line, and as they all place a bid to win the first race back to the pit lane, as Cunniff line there. If that was during the race, we'd have had
I think we've just got to stick with this for a second, just see how this unfolds.
I think get ready for lift-off, here they come.
Yeah, brilliant stuff, boys. This is what we want. This is better than the Partuis de France at Le Mans. There you go. Oh, beautiful stuff. Even with a bit of smoke as well. Absolutely smashing, literally.
It's like egg rolling, isn't it? I think Nico Foggy went the furthest there.
Does he get showdown points for that?
Well, he gets showing off points.
Yeah, there you go.
and a bill as well for a wrecked Kia. Here's the race results for the final race of the day. Nico Foggy takes his 4th win of the season. Second for Adam McNally, highest AM driver. An AM driver on a podium is always a good result. Josh Thompson finishing in 3rd. Useful points for CQR as well. Jack McIntyre in 4th, Adam Hadfield in 5th, Jack Sedgwick, highest Apex car, in 6th. 7th for Martin Front, 8th for Dave Baker and Pete Harrod, 2 teammates there. Excuse me, and Pete Newman in 10th. Good result as well for Pete, because I remember at the start of the race he was right at the very back of the camera shot at turn 1, but he was able to gain two positions and finish in 10th. Michael Blake in 11th, 12th Jamie Rushworth, Steve Baxter 14 places to gain to finish in 14th. Diogo Melro in 14th place, 17 positions gained. Then Wojciech Savidovic, he had to watch pretty much a third of the field go by after the contact down at the chase. He only lost 1 position really from where he started, but he could have got a 2nd place finish at best really if he'd been able to carry on. After that it's Nathan Davis, 16th place. Good haul of points for him tonight actually. Despite what happened in the first race, he was able to get to the end there, and then 2 strong finishes in race 2 and race 3 for the Welshman. Rusty Laidler 17th, 18th for Jake Blackhall, 19th for Chris Wood, and 20th for Ross McFarlane. Michael Hall 21st, 22nd for Mark Johnston, and Dan Brown in 23rd, both of them gaining 17 positions during the race. Then Stuart McFadden 24th, Will Daniels 25th. Alex Simpson, despite his crash at the chase, managed to finish in 26th place in the end. 27th for Christian Rose, 28th for Scott Malcolm, and then George Simmons 1 lap down in 29th, and then the cars didn't finish. Colin Cunniff in 30th place, so he got DQ'd, didn't he? So not too good there. Max Wright 2 laps down, Sven Glatzel 5 laps down, and then Tristan Bodis, Lee Deemer, Mark Woodhouse, Tyler Lugo Vickery bounding down the hill in his Kia Optima. And then the cars that really had issues very early on indeed, Rob Graham, Paul Smith, Kip Stevens, those 2 were pretty much glued together in race 2, and Brian Holmes was the first car out of the race. Right then, have we got much in the way of interview? We do. We have Adam McNally, Josh Thompson, Rusty Laidler, and Stuart McFadden. Well, we did have 1 driver game.
McNally's just
vanished. Maybe he just wanted to vent something at some driver and then leave. But we do have Josh Thompson, Rusty Laidler, and Stuart McFadden all waiting to talk to us. So based on who had the best evening, I'll say that's Josh Thompson. We'll get him in first. And he joins us now in the commentary box. Josh Thompson, hello.
Hello.
CQR now. I don't know how long you've been with CQR actually. I haven't actually checked up on that one, but some good points for you. I believe 2 podiums today?
Yeah, should be top of meeting after Wojciech's little incident in the last one, so quite good to say I'm in the reserve, so
been with CQR now for a bit. I was with them for World GT. But I joined them once Boosted fell apart really midway through the season, but then just became a reserve. So I've just done a few rounds in there. So Monza was the last time I was in the car and came 5th in that meeting overall, the win. And tonight at a track, I didn't get told 5 minutes till the session gone up that you're actually racing tonight. I was like, oh. So yeah, to walk away with 2 podiums, great racing with Wojciech in the last one side by side through the mountain and stuff like that. And I think to walk away with top and meeting, I don't think I did the boys' part too bad really.
You got a great view of what happened on the last lap between Cedric and Paxter going through the first corner as well.
Yeah, just gifted really. Because obviously being the reserve, I'm just doing it for the team championship. So in like race 2, I just sat behind Dave, just helping the championship for the showdown. So yeah, that was a gift really. Like race 1, I didn't feel I had the pace. I just got lucky with the toe and just broke away and just didn't fight. But I felt I had the pace advantage over Wojciech the entire evening, race 2 and race 3. Just, it's so hard. Once you get held up, you just drop out the toe. It's just so hard to get when they're in a toe.
And race 3 as well, it looked like turn 4, the left-hander, was one of your favourite overtaking spots. Quite a few moves getting done there.
Yeah, it's probably one of the easier places to overtake, I'd say, on the track. Because a lot of people, there's like a few different lines, so people go out wide and use the way the track falls away to pogo the car in, whereas I go in tight and just hook the inside all the way around. But you can only do it on a few people. I couldn't do it every lap, as you saw. Sometimes it didn't go well, but I had to try something to keep up with Wojciech if I wanted to be top of the evening.
Suzuka next week. I'm guessing that don't really know at this point whether you'll be needed or not.
No, I am needed because obviously tonight I replaced Ash. I stepped in for Ash, so winning the evening hopefully overall was quite nice for him. And next week I'll be stepping in for Baker at Suzuka.
Yes, of course, yeah. So yeah, we'll look forward to that one. Before we let you go, do you want to send a quick shout out to anybody?
Yeah. So first off, everyone at CQR. Like without those guys, I wouldn't even be on the grid. Jake Blackhall for doing the setup this week. He put a lot of time and effort in, and I can't thank him enough for that because it was awesome. All the support with the guys in the team, RaceHub for the main team sponsor, and you guys for the broadcasting, as it was awesome as always.
Cool. Been a pleasure, Josh,
Thank
as
you.
always. And, yeah, we'll hopefully speak to you next week at Suzuka, where you'll be top of the points again, probably.
I hope.
Potentially,
Hopefully,
yeah.
it'll be nice to get it all going again.
Cheers, Josh. Josh Thompson there. Who do you want next then? I know you might want to go for Adam McNally.
We certainly will. Mr. McNally, brilliant results for you tonight, son. I was just saying about how well the Scots were doing up the front of the field. Are you happy with how that went?
Aye, over the moon. Just got it foggy, didn't start like 10 places further back. And I might have actually got the win. But
It's still a good race for Northern Lights overall, though, isn't it?
yeah, definitely. Like I said, happy you got the win. Happy with the win myself. Take second, especially around here. Top 10 race 1. Just got spun out race 2, but that led us to start where I did for race 3, so can't really complain.
Yeah, it's a good haul of points as well overall. We caught your little jump at the end as well in flying formation, so that was a very entertaining end to the evening.
So close to making it.
Yeah, I was going to say, we just about clipped the barrier as you went over it. Did you do much clipping of other barriers around here? Did you find it tough to race here tonight?
Only race 2, but that was after I'd already got a meatball. So I clipped the Forest Elbow, following Foggy's line. Just got suspension damage, but the car actually seemed to be faster with the damage. And like, it was lucky it was on lap 9 of 10, so managed to finish the race.
Fair play, fair play. You've got Suzuka coming up next week. Is it a track you enjoy racing on? You looking forward to that one?
Well, not really, but I suppose just put enough practice in. All I need to do is just finish the races, score the points, and like I said, just keep it going for the showdown now.
Good stuff then. Well, we hope that the team succeeds as much as they did tonight. I know they won't be flying through the air as much, or hopefully they won't be anyway. Is there anyone you want to give a quick shout out to before you go?
Just like all my usual sponsors and the NLR lads for helping us out with the car throughout the season. Used lot for doing the broadcasting, it's always great to watch back. And everyone who puts effort in behind the scenes of the BSR to keep it running.
Brilliant stuff. Well, thanks very much, Adam. We'll maybe speak to you next week, but we wish you all the best.
Right, thank you very much.
Adam McNally there, favourite Scotsman, as I say. He's, well, it's been a running joke since I started commentating on the MX-5s, I suppose. Who should we have a look at next then, Adam?
We have got... I think you go for Ross McFarlane, I reckon.
Let's just drag him in. Sorry, I'm just having a bit of a moment then.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Ross McFarlane joins us in the commentary box. Hello.
Hello.
Just looking where you finished in that race. 20th place then, 13 positions gained, but for the evening as a whole, how do you think it went?
It was alright actually. Going into it with a qualifying ban from Brands Hatch, so I knew that I had to take my chances where I could, so I decided to pit lane start race 1, which is always a risky maneuver, but with the crashes that happen at Mount Panorama, you often find yourself actually getting a good reverse grid. So I got that, got lucky off of Diogo making a mistake in turn 1, and I was able to hold him off. So at this point in the season, you're looking for showdown points. You're not looking for seasonal points, and to take a win is bonus for me, really. So I may not have scored many total points, but that's what I was there for. And then yeah, race 3, a few issues in race 3, but 3 finishes and a win, totally happy.
Yeah, 3rd win of the season in race 2. It puts you in good shape in terms of the win count when the showdown points get out in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys ahead of me in the showdown points, and I've maybe rused some careful driving where I could have maybe nicked another podium here and there throughout the season, but it's important now. I just got to take those points and finish every race that I can in that showdown, and that'll really help as well. The same for my teammates, Nickel, Steven, Sven, Colin. We're all looking to find our way into that showdown, and we just need to maximise it.
In terms of Suzuka next week then, completely different to Bathurst. How do you reckon you're going to go around there?
It's not one of my favourites. I do enjoy the track in terms of, it's a very exciting track, but historically not particularly faster. The Kia is a handful, especially in any hot races. So I'm looking forward to it. It's always a challenge, and like I said, probably try and emulate this week. Try and pick up a few showdown points. Hopefully, it goes well.
Great. Well, before we let you go, do you want to send a quick shout out to anybody?
Yeah, I'd just love to shout out the NLR, GT Omega again, and the Scuderia Haggis team. We're really performing well. But a big shout out today to V-Racer. Me and Nickel were lucky enough to get 2 wins for not only NLR but V-Racer as well. And Dan and Will were performing reasonably well, and a few unfortunate occurrences, but that's okay. So big thanks to them. XSIM, as always, we're looking forward to doing more with them, hopefully in the future, near future hopefully. But yeah, thanks to those guys, and thanks to you and Adam and Chaz. You fantastic commentary. Sam on the camera, so I'm loving it. It's actually getting a lot better every week, I feel, so it's fantastic.
Thanks very much, Ross. Really appreciate that, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll second that as well. Cheers, Ross, and yeah, thanks for taking the time to come and speak to us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Ross McFarlane, they're very polite and lovely as always. He's obviously very happy tonight with his win, and good results. And like I say, V-Racer have been involved with Northern Lights recently, and they've actually put a lot of effort into some very, very high-tech stuff. So it's good to see that the hobby's getting the recognition and getting companies in like that, isn't it?
Really good, yeah. Looking forward to seeing how they get on in the showdown as well. New team this year, I think they'll really have a good chance of troubling the guys at the front. I think this showdown could pretty much be anyone's game. We've got 2 more drivers, both driving for CQR Academy, waiting to talk to us down in the interview room. Stuart McFadden and Stuart McFadden, we've already talked to him. Stuart McFadden and Rusty Laidler down there. So I think we could probably get both of them up, as they are both teammates, and see how things got on from a CQR Academy perspective. We'll start with Rusty Laidler. Hello.
Yeah, boys, how's it going?
Good. You're right, Stuart McFadden as well. Hello.
I am absolutely brilliant.
Well, Rusty, I think if we could pick a racetrack this season that epitomises a Rusty Laidler circuit, it's probably Mount Panorama at Bathurst. How did your evening get on?
I absolutely love this track, but the start of the evening. I've been riddled with flu all day, so I just, you know, when you reactions just ain't what they normally are. So I decided I started race run from the pits because I was being a massive pussy, but it worked for me. So I just kind of started sweating it out, and as the evening's gone on, I've kind of progressively felt a bit better.
Well, we've chickened it out in the commentary box, I think, rather you than me, I think, today. But yeah, it's not been too bad. And of course, one of your Pro-Am rivals, Mark Woodhouse, I think, picked up a 0 in the
Third race.
Third race. So that means now you're top of the table with a few races to go.
Back to the top. Nice. That's kind of been my season goal. Like the showdowns, just luck, if that makes any sense. So my actual goal is I wanted to finish top of the AM standings at the end of the main season. So if I could stay there next week, that's my kind of season goal finished. Naturally, I want to try and win the showdown, as everybody would. But it's all down to luck, that. Whereas this is kind of like a season's worth of work. But what is fantastic to see is just how close that AM class has been all season long.
Yeah, it's a big sort of equaliser, isn't it, when the showdown comes in? So I see what you mean about winning it before then, because it's the full-on ruthless season that goes on and on beforehand. There's no sort of let's set everything back to 0. So it is good to see that you're getting them results in, mate. And obviously, hopefully, we'll see you staying at the top there next week. No bias, of course, or anything, but obviously we have to look anyway, don't we?
Fingers crossed. Thank you very much, mate.
Yeah, Suzuka next week then. With the Japanese tarmac and all that. How do you reckon that's going to go?
It's always been a bit of a bogey track for me, that, but I'm looking forward to it. You know me, I like a good fight, I like a good scrap. Even if I qualify badly, I like to try and work my way up through the grid. And I think Suzuka could be one of those tracks that I could do that, but if I could just do what I did tonight, 3 clean finishes, keep out of trouble, but amongst it at the same time, I'll be happy with that.
And Stuart, I guess it's the same for you as well. Just looking at the championship standings for you, a bit out of it, I think. But in terms of helping the team,
quite a few meetings.
Yeah, in terms of helping the team, CQR Academy in the Pro Championship, it's still pretty close between you and Team Maz with a few races to go.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing everything that we can to try and beat them. I think I don't actually know exactly what the points gap is, but it shouldn't really matter. We should still be trying 100% to try and catch the team. Man.
And how did it go from your perspective today? You're right in the midfield for a few of the races. Finished in 24th in that final race as well.
Yeah, it wasn't a brilliant night. It wasn't a disastrous night. It was pretty average, to be honest. Picked up good points for the team as well. So did other guys, especially in race 2. I think we had 3 academy cars in the top 15, which is really, really good. So yeah, I haven't actually seen the points or anything, but hopefully we've closed the gap to Team Mad to make it a wee bit easier for us.
Great. Well, Rusty or Stuart, who wants to do the shout outs before you go?
I'll let Stu do it because I just offend everybody.
Big thanks to you guys for the broadcast, as per usual. It's been class. And big thanks to CQR for just helping us with setups and stuff like that. So yeah, great team to be with. Best team to be with. I'm going to say that.
There you go. Well, hopefully it goes well for the rest of the season. And yeah, Rusty, it's an 11-point gap between you and Chris Wood, but I'm sure the rest of Team Mad will be raring to go for the rest of the showdown. So best of luck with that. And yeah, thanks for taking the time, you two, to come and speak to us.
Thank you very much.
CQR boys there then, always competitive CQR, no matter what series they're in, they always have a really good lineup of drivers, and they've shown tonight actually, they've been pretty much the class of the field really, because they've always been up there or thereabouts. I mean, we saw Michael Hall and I think it was Christian Rose, wasn't it, with him in the second race, getting 4th and 5th, so it's good that it's going well for them, and hopefully we'll see more of that in the last round and obviously the showdown. Great.
Well, that pretty much wraps things up here from Mount Panorama in Bathurst. However, I have got a few interesting things to end on. And I know Sam's probably really annoyed as it's quite late where he is, but I can run you through some interesting stats. I scrolled right to the bottom of our points our point sheet. Andrew Woodhouse currently sits in 90th place, but he's only a few points behind Isaac Price. So, Woody, if you get back in the car between now and the end of the season, you could end up finishing ahead of one of the F1 esports finalists. But if it's any consolation if you don't, you've got less DNFs than Isaac Price. And better for Jackie Lotterman. He currently sits in 125th place in the championship on minus 34 points. It can only get better, Jackie, if you want to come back between now and the end of the season. But yeah, that wraps it up. Chaz and Mount Panorama Bathurst, it was exciting as we all expected. And now we've just got one more week to set the points for Suzuka. So next week's going to be pretty crucial.
Yeah, it definitely is. And Suzuka's been a circuit that's decided quite a few Formula One World Championships before. So it's nice that these boys are going to be chucking these big old Kias around there and doing the same. So I'm sure the drama will naturally come well with Suzuka, and I'm really looking forward to watching it.
Yeah. Those were the days when Suzuka was the final race meeting of the season. Now we've still got quite a few races to go to decide that title. But yeah, my thanks to Chaz, my thanks to Sam Kumo as well for being on the cameras, doing the reverse grid, and making sure this broadcast runs as smoothly as it does.
Rather than me ruining it.
Well, yeah, I don't know, but we'll be back next week. Then this time next week at just after 8 o'clock on Thursday for the final race meeting of the regular season before the points get reset for the showdown. So who's going to miss out and who's going to just scrape in right at the death? It's going to be action-packed as always in the BSRTC. But for now, from me, from Chaz, and from Sam here at the Mount Panorama circuit in Bathurst, bye for now.